I've been sipping on ricotta, gon' pop me a bottle, pour me up a drink. Yeah, she been sipping on ricotta, gon' pour her a bottle, pour her up a drink, pour us up a drink. A ricotta, we gon' have a drink. A ricotta, everybody drinking. Ricotta, get you some ricotta. Oh, I've been sipping on ricotta. I've been sipping on ricotta. I've been sipping on ricotta. Ricotta or more, drink like a boss.
Yeah, black excellence. I am excellently black with intelligence. I am heaven sent. You are now tuned in to the Slicktalk with Scalez podcast.
Yeah.
Episode 172, correct?
172.
Yeah, 172 of the Slicktalk with Scalez podcast. We are here. We are live. We are lit. Please share this shit everywhere that you can. If you on Facebook, tapped in with me right now. To my Twitter people, please retweet this everywhere that you can. My YouTube audience, hit that like, subscribe, notification button so you can stay what's up with what's going on over here and help a brother get monetized. You dig? So on that note, like I said, man, this is episode 172. We sliding in a little late, so I ain't gonna waste no time. I want to introduce the gang. Hold me down as always. My dog Mike, say what up to the people.
What's going on, people? I am here.
Also sitting next to Mike, you know what I'm saying, is my dog Don. You know, he done cut the Lizox off, you know what I mean? So the new hairdo, who is this looking ass nigga, you know what I mean?
Brand new all in. You should have seen the way he was holding that champagne glass in the club.
He was fancy, huh?
Very fair.
Pinky
Pinky's up. You hear me?
Don, say what up to the people.
Hello, everyone.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you for having me, guys.
So that's what cutting off your locks. That's what it do.
Yeah, I'm a lot more mature.
Our guest next to you recently cut off his locks too. Now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, that was 6 years ago. God damn, time flies.
He said, "Well, thanks for mentioning it."
Yeah.
But it happened 6 years ago. But thanks, I
fun.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And like I said, on that note, man, I want to give a shout out to the people who always help me make this shit look how it look and sound how it sounds. Shout out to Everyday Media, my brother Dooch. Also, shout out to Sterling working the camera for us.
Sterling.
Sure we look good. MD Visuals. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out Blackout Entertainment. Shout out Black Lens MKE this Friday. Company Brewing, 7 p.m. They have the Power and Poetry event. The Life and Times of Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
This Friday, a free event. Very dope for Black History Month. They're doing something for hip hop. They reached out to this podcast to be a part of it and help them push it because we are very hip hop over here, as everyone knows. So on that note, please tap in with Black Lens MKE this Friday. Free event at a dope venue, Company Brewing, and we are celebrating the life and times of a very dope artist, Kendrick Lamar. Also, I want to give a shout out to Ricardo Amore. Steve-O still ain't brought me my goddamn liquor, but he's sending me movie scripts. Can I get my goddamn liquor?
Can I get my movie script?
Them little 2-3 lines and shit. I learned that shit in my sleep, nigga. Can I get my liquor for my podcast?
Excuse me, not you Denzel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you ain't know that? You ain't know that? I can read that much. You ain't know that? I know everybody lines.
Now you learn.
I'm like early Will Smith.
Oh, now you somebody.
I'm like early Will Smith. Remember Will couldn't learn his lines. So he couldn't read, so he knew everybody lines.
You Martin on the Jonas tour.
Yeah, that's me.
I said I know everybody.
He said I know everybody.
I know everybody lines. Give me my liquor. They got that. I'm just fucking with you. Shout out to Steve for that though, man. And on that note, we ain't gonna waste no time. We're gonna get right into it. Our guest tonight, though, you know what I'm saying? When I bumped into this brother, you know what I mean? I was congratulating him about the campaign trail, and he was exhausted. You know what I'm saying? And this is a dude who's been working nightclubs and parties with me for the last as long as I've been in the game. You know what I mean? He was doing this shit before me. But ladies and gentlemen, running for the first district, automatic, right? Ain't that how you say it?
First district alderman, but district automatic race.
Automatic race. My brother, Marshall Martin. Give it up for him in the building with us today. Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me in here.
Yes, sir.
Wow. You know, it's amazing how when you run for public office, you are now Marshall Martin.
Yeah, right.
Well, I was born Marshall Martin.
I know, but you DJ Mr. Martin
to us.
You know, Marshall Martin.
Well, you all are highlighting one side of Mr. Martin's life.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, I
Okay.
didn't want to. I was gonna let him introduce all those other things.
Yeah, but I would like to highlight the other end of that.
Mhm.
Right. I'm not a part of that. I've actually known on the other end too. But you also are an educator, right?
I am.
And can we be specific about a particular area that you teach?
Citizenship and world history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up.
See, this is what I'm talking
My favorite
about.
part of school.
See, you remember?
Yeah, mine too.
I like world history too because I feel like it's just gossip on
Yeah.
paper. I love it.
And it's
Oh my God,
and it's
I
a
love
lot of cap in there that we can, you know what I mean? It's
You
fun
can wave
to
through it.
dissect the cap.
But
But it's
it's
interesting to dissect the cap.
It really is.
Best part about world history is that you see how much history repeats itself.
Facts.
I mean, a lot of stuff that's in the history books, I can point to modern day examples
Yeah.
each and every day in the news.
Absolutely.
The man said it's gossip on paper.
It is.
That's
Is it
far
not?
off. He's not far off.
He's not far off.
No, I mean, no, you're not wrong.
Somebody is telling you their recollection, right? Or what
Told by the winners.
Always told by the winner.
History's always told by the winners.
is that not gossip? If you
Yeah.
don't win a battle, you ain't gonna add a little bit.
And a
Oh, they
motherfucker,
add a little
and a
spice.
I'ma
motherfucker
add
go
a little-
elaborate and insinuate.
Oh,
like,
I'm gonna
yeah,
add a little rap to
I
that.
knocked 4 of them niggas out. It was really one nigga there.
It was only one, but
It's the Soldier Boy story. Like, man, them niggas walked in the house and I got to know.
no, they
you
said
didn't.
Soldier was telling the truth though.
They did.
They said Soldier was
No, they
telling
said he
the
elaborated a little bit. Even the
Because-
police said he
embellished.
he embellished.
but
a lot.
I lived to tell the story and y'all weren't there.
It's like Don said.
So
The winners.
look, I'm
The
gonna tell the
winners.
story how I want to tell it.
That's the winners. You
There
know,
was 4 of them.
you know,
And
England.
they came to the front though.
England
I
beat
handled
Europe,
it.
so that they rode on horses.
You remember that?
We're
Yeah.
not going to take
Okay.
the argument.
They rode on
Mr. Martin,
horses. Right.
as an
What?
educator of citizenship and world history, you are now running for the first aldermanic district.
That's right.
What encouraged you in the years of teaching this? You haven't just started teaching this type of class, and
Right.
you've had an opportunity as a DJ to go around the cities to different areas, to different districts, right? What encouraged you to run for office?
Man, my students.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the main things we cover is how government is supposed to work. You
Right.
know, people think, when they hear about elections and campaigns that it's the president.
Right.
That's kind of, people get that tunnel vision and
Yeah.
think, that's the most important race. And it is important. I'm not discounting that race.
Uh-huh.
People need to vote in congressional races, presidential races, whatever.
Yeah.
But local politics, like the alderman,
Yeah.
it hits your backyard.
Facts.
Right? Literally, like your garbage don't get picked up. That's on your alderman. Your
Right.
snow doesn't get removed. Your leaves don't get removed. And so many people think the national elections are the most important, but when it really is these grassroots in front of my house issues. And so I talk to kids about that, about their civic responsibility, things that they're supposed to do in the neighborhood. Government and community have to work together. I mean, we rely on government, we doomed, just for them to handle everything. So I call them out constantly, like, pick up the trash around the school. How many of y'all want to live in a neighborhood with garbage and dirt all over it? No hands go up. How many of y'all throw garbage and dirt down? Every hand goes up.
Yeah.
Right. So we causing the problems that we trying to fix.
Right.
It's a crazy cycle, and I make them realize it. And I stand on this soapbox, man. 170 odd days of school for the past 12 years. Eventually, some kid was gonna be like, "Man, well, what you gonna do?" I mean, see you picking up paper around the school, but what about your neighborhood? Well, I clean up my neighborhood. What about the rest of the neighborhoods?
Right.
Well, I can't do that, but I can definitely energize and mobilize people to do it. I work at Bayview, man. It's on the south side, and
You house.
yeah, there you go. And I didn't go there for high school, but I rep it now. I coach wrestling there, so I rep it hard. But you wouldn't believe the neighborhoods on the south side. I mean, we north side kids. We don't get over there. People always say, "Oh, Milwaukee's small." No, Milwaukee's not small.
No.
People call the north side of Milwaukee. But no, Milwaukee's huge. If it's small, walk from the north to the south side in the winter.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Really,
Yeah.
I went to Grambling, bros, and in Grambling, you could throw a rock through that joint.
Facts.
But we're not small. We don't got major sports teams here. I mean,
Right.
you've never heard of the North Dakota, South Dakota,
The
you know what
Bucks.
I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing. You know what I
Right,
mean? Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, I can go.
Yeah.
So I call them out on all these things about fixing up the school and their surrounding areas, and they called it back to me. Like, you talk, you just told me, I tell them about everything. I'm an open book. So I just bought a house in the district. And then, so I talk about how they're aldermen, because every student, the first assignment, you have to learn who your alderman is, what district you live in, who's the representative, how you contact them, what do they look like? And they saw that mine's had a blank picture, first district. It's like, why is yours blank? Well, there's no alderman right now. Ashanti Hamilton.
Is it just because there's no alderman? Right? Don't answer that. No, keep going.
Well, I mean, you can't run if somebody's in office already. You have to wait for the next opening up, the next election.
But is it just because do they not have a vision of who their alderman is? Just because the position is vacant? It hasn't been vacant that long.
No, 6 months, bro. That's a long time for your district to go unrepresented.
It is a very long time for your district to go unrepresented. But is it so long that high school students shouldn't know who their alderman was?
Well, man, adults don't know who their alderman is, bro. I mean, that's not restricted to kids. I know. I've knocked on doors in the first district, and people are like, I live in the first district.
You see, I just did before the show.
I didn't want to call it out.
You are the local politics.
So I asked that question. I say that to say this, right?
Calm down, Mike.
Do we have?
Calm down, Mike.
Do we have aldermen?
Don't piss off another guest.
I'm not pissing off a guest. I'm just asking the question.
It's an inside joke.
Yeah,
I'm not pissing off a guest. I promise. Look,
no, go ahead.
No. So I'm like, I promise I'm not. It's a good question. So is it that these children are as engaged as they should be, or is it that we have certain council people who are not as engaged as they should be?
Well, the council people's job is to run their district. The children their job is to be a sponge. So the problem is, what are the educators dripping into them? I mean, the lesson I give on the aldermanic districts is not in the book.
That's something you do on your own. Yeah, it's not in the curriculum at all.
Again, if we stick to the curriculum, we're doomed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? We got to go outside of that. And so that assignment is one I created. I mean, it's imperative to know who runs the city, who runs the area that you live in. They don't even know that the city is chopped up into these different districts, and how we talk about gerrymandering and how the lines get crazy. Right now, I live in what's called the new district because 2024 the lines are going to change again. So the house I bought is actually right outside the district now, and as soon as the lines change, it's in. So that works out for me. But it's not just kids, man. There are many adults, more than I like to mention, that don't know not only what district they live in, who the alderman is, but what the alderman is responsible for doing.
Right. That's what else I was going to ask you. When we had Jasmine on here the last time she was here, we asked her what are the roles and responsibilities for alderman, because a lot of people don't even know that.
It's vast. I mean, you have to sit on your committees to, of course, scrutinize the city budget that the mayor puts out there. You have to take it up with the common council and see, what areas tax dollars need to be spent in. Of course, it deals with licensing of grocery stores, liquor stores, gas stations, local mom and pop shops, restaurants, anything that wants to open. Your alderman's endorsement is definitely wanted. They're responsible for the sanitation, the cleanliness of your neighborhood. If the garbage disposal is not happening, like I said, if leaves aren't being cleaned up, if snow is not being plowed, you call on your alderman for that, for those services. If you need a speed bump in your street, if you need a roundabout, if you need a four-way stop sign, all those things are things that the aldermen are instrumental in dealing with on a day-to-day basis. I hope I can take the approach when I get this position to establish connections with the law enforcement and with the education system, because again, if we're not working together, if community, law enforcement, education doesn't work, if everybody sticks to their little box, nothing's going to get done.
The silos.
Yeah, it has to be a collaboration, all these things, and that's one of the things I don't see happening right now. And I don't want to step on the wrong.
That's like a Milwaukee. That's like a Milwaukee thing, though.
Yeah. That ties
the lack of collaboration
ties to the segregation here.
But if I knock on and he's my frat, but if I knock on the superintendent's door and I want to talk to you about the education system and how I think it can be fixed and why it's leading to some of our problems in the community.
Facts.
You're a teacher, go back to class. If I knock on that door and I'm the alderman, now you got to listen.
Yeah, exactly.
It ain't necessarily my responsibility to handle that, but I can get an ear all of a sudden.
Well, let's have a conversation, right? Because is the cookie cutter alderman necessarily the type of alderman that we need for Milwaukee?
Yeah, who's standing up to be the cookie cutter? The cookie cutter sticks in the box. I'm gonna do my job and handle these responsibilities. I'm not gonna reach out, try to ruffle feathers in MPS or ruffle feathers in MPD. And then when I say ruffle feathers, I mean establish connections, so we're not in these silos that you call them, these boxes that we call them. That's not that's not in the box. That's outside the box, because they're not talking right now, brother. We have a black superintendent of schools, a black mayor, a black chief of police, a black county executive, a black city attorney. I guarantee you these brothers have never sat in a room.
Wow.
To be completely true.
And you know how I know? Because I've asked them.
Yeah, I believe that, because even though I know right now Mike is playing devil's advocate right now on the show, in our one-on-one conversations, that's a question that he asks all the time. He like, I wonder, do these niggas go have a drink or barbecue together or anything? He like, how do we have all of these black people in these powerful positions in this city is still as whitewashed or as the black voices as silent as it is here?
And again, I want to make it clear, it's the north side.
Facts.
Yeah.
Bayview don't Kinnickinnick. I mean, even their worst neighborhoods don't look that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
The trash.
Yeah.
You know, there's some rough spots everywhere.
Yeah.
But man, you just see every business over there. Every building over there is something. Man, some of the same buildings been empty since I was a kid.
Man, swear to
On the
God.
north side.
Yeah, sure.
They haven't done anything with them buildings since the Dr. King riots.
And the far northwest side, old Mill Road area, where they pushed a bunch of us out to because of gentrification.
Facts.
Right. That area when I was coming up was majority white. When Northridge area was thriving. To live in Northridge Lakes was something
a big deal.
Yeah. Not now. But
depends on which side you're
business has left out of there. I mean, bro, it was
Don,
theaters out there.
Don, we're rooting for you. Okay. We're rooting for you and we're rooting for District 9. Okay. However, it's very different.
Yeah, it's very different. Like he just said, it was a movie.
So like, listen. So like, you drive into the Northridge Lakes area.
Yeah.
If you turn right, it's nice. If you turn left, you don't want to go left.
Well, I have a couple of questions though, because I have a few. You brought up a few different topics. One thing you brought up is the fact that you just bought a home in the district. Is this your first purchase, or is this like this is your first purchase? You've been an educator with MPS for how long?
MPS 12 years now.
For 12 years.
I worked in Choice and Charter also.
Choice and Charter. So as an educator, you've worked. First of all, teachers are underpaid. We know that.
Facts.
But how do you, as an alderman, right? How do you have a connection or try to marry that or fix the issue of home ownership for people that look like us within the city of Milwaukee?
Well, number one, we got to recognize what assets are there. Like for years, I never purchased a home, and I'm a military veteran. I have my VA home loan sitting there for years. I know a bunch of veterans that don't own homes right now, and the path is so easy. You know, people talk about how much you got to come up with. Well, veterans, it's no money down. The crazy thing is at my closing, I got a check. I didn't turn one over. They gave me a check because I put too much into my escrow account. So finding easy paths, like are you in the education field? Are you a police officer? There are so many programs right now where those individuals can get homes, right? So those are the easy ones. Now you got your low income dependent rent to eventually own programs that exist out there. They're not the best, and the interest rates are crazy on them, but it is a path to ownership. We just got to discover the different avenues that are out there. I mean, I didn't have to dig far to find out what was available to me. Gotcha. And I haven't had to dig far much to find out how other people can get homes. I mean, don't get me wrong, you got to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to work. The government, they're going to give you a home. It's going to be in an area you may not want to be in.
Yeah.
Either it's going to be extremely far out and you're disconnected from jobs, you're disconnected from nightlife, you're disconnected from everything, or it's going to be in an area where it's not as safe as you want it to be and doesn't look as good as you want it to be. So those programs are there. They're in place. People are using them, but there are other programs for people who work in the service, in the community service industry, like a teacher, like a police officer, like a firefighter, like an ambulance, paramedic worker. There's thousands of programs, and we just don't know about them. We don't hear about them. We just keep renting. And we just keep on, and I'm
you're a product of that.
Yeah, I'm sure. It wasn't until my light bulb went off, and I was like, man, I could have did this years ago.
Yeah. Gotcha. Makes sense. Next question. I feel like I want to remember them while I have them in my head for you. Okay, so you brought up the city budget.
Right.
We know that we have a budget shortfall coming, right? About the revenue. The mayor has brought attention to the shared revenue system.
Can you explain that to our audience?
Sure. I thought, my bad.
Yeah,
you're the remember, you're the inner city politician nerd.
Okay, sorry guys. Okay, so back shared revenue. So our state, we do not collect a local income tax in our city, our municipalities. What the state does for local municipalities is it takes in a state income tax and it gives a portion of that income tax back to the different municipalities. What we are saying is that has been frozen. The amount that they have given back to cities has been frozen for about 10 years. The state has taken in a nice amount of money, but hasn't sent
That's a
out.
surplus.
Yeah, and has about a $7 billion surplus,
Yeah,
right?
surplus right
So
Monopoly, pretty much. Yeah, it's a monopoly.
you hear what's going on? Yeah, $7 billion surplus. And so
why haven't they given it back?
Well, let's discuss. So you have a Republican state legislature, right?
Okay.
Who looks to, and I believe this is my personal opinion, Mr. Martin, you don't have to sign up for this. This is me. This is just the view of Michael J. Curtis. Okay. I believe the racists in Madison would like to take control of Milwaukee. And so their goal is to choke the resources out of things like the Milwaukee Public School Board and to choke the resources out of things like the city of Milwaukee so that they can say that Milwaukee is insolvent.
For me not to
And when
even
you
know
say
much
things like that,
for me not to even know much history on what you're speaking of, just from the pattern of behavior of the people that you're speaking of,
Yeah.
I don't think you're far off from
You see what I'm saying?
from what your
where I'm
assessment
going?
is.
So I believe it's an ultimate goal to take over the city of Milwaukee's schools. I believe it's an ultimate goal to take over the city of Milwaukee's government. Not just that, but also county. But anywho, that's my theory. And so in that, you have a legislature just that would like Milwaukee not to be successful so that they can say Republicans can do a better job. Let us try. And you have people like Alberta Darling, who did something similar and attempted to do something similar with the Milwaukee Public Schools and was looking to take over Milwaukee Public Schools, right, from the state legislature.
Yeah.
And her district that she did out of Mequon didn't do very well. And still, we have these type of people looking to do these things and have these type of influences in the city of Milwaukee.
So is there no way for the city of Milwaukee to fight back against that, or
our fair share?
right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so you can demand it, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to give it to them. Is there some kind of litigation that the city of Milwaukee could take against the state?
Well,
or?
you could take litigation against the state, but here's the issue. The Supreme Court is conservative leaning at the moment. Now, at the moment, you do have an open Supreme Court seat for the Wisconsin Supreme Court that is up for re-election. That's up for election, excuse me. It has a number of candidates. Okay, I'm going to point you toward two. Now, you got, I cannot say her last name. You have Judge Janet, and then you have Judge Everett Mitchell. Okay, so those are two different candidates that you can vote for. I'm going to encourage you to vote in the Supreme Court election. Choose who you will. Now, I had a question for you in that.
You were talking about in terms of getting the dollars that are due to us.
The dollars that are due,
to us,
absolutely.
from the state. We're the highest generating entity in the state.
Facts.
Right.
Highest
The money
revenue
comes, I mean,
generator.
don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, there's pockets that would, where funds come from, but the majority of the bulk comes here.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we say we want our fair share, and when I say demand, I don't just mean we want our fair share. I mean, there's legal action that can be taken.
Okay.
There's legal action that can be taken against the states to make sure that we get what is due. In terms of the exact ways the alderman goes about that, that's just really what I was saying before. It gets you in some doors that, hey, I'm co-signing what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not litigation I can do through my avenue of work.
Right.
To get Milwaukee, but the Common Council is a strong council.
Yeah.
In terms of this, and I won't sign on to any jargon we put out there about where the races were. We'll use that.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree that there's been a concentrated effort by whatever party to take over Milwaukee, to see the demise of it, so it can be taken over. And in the public school system, we get threatened with it all the time. Like, oh, we're gonna break up MPS. It's time to get rid of it. And MPS problem is not that it needs to be breaking up.
It's that it needs money.
You know what? And now I'm about to get step into a pool myself, but I'm on here. It got money.
It got money. That's what I was about to say.
It got money.
I looked up us amongst like districts, like urban districts
I just
across
wanted to
the
walk
country.
you into it.
Yeah,
No, it's not
we're
a
like
problem.
top
It's
5 and
not-
finding like they got money, bro.
They have money, and you know how? Because for a few years they've flown someone in from California to teach me to breathe. I'm 47.
Come on,
I
man.
Thought I had it down pat.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Breathe in and out. Come on, I can do this all day. But they call it mindfulness, which is a good program.
Yeah.
But they spent thousands on that.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring these people in and teach the MPS staff how to breathe and how to cacao and do yoga.
Wow.
Like, man, we need drivers in, brother.
Yeah.
We talk about reckless driving is something that people always ask me about.
Yeah.
Are y'all crazy? We got reckless driving. Where'd you get your license? I got mine at Marshall.
I got mine
That's
through
a
driver's
class.
ed. Yeah.
I went to
class
I worked at Boston store and paid for driver's ed on Mill Road. I forgot the place.
But check one more,
Yeah.
right? So in Marshall it was a class. We had
Mhm,
little
it was a
simulators
class
with the little
simulator, yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
I got my learner's permit. They had cars in the back for us to actually drive. The cars belong to the school.
Mhm.
We stopped teaching kids how to drive and surprised that they're driving reckless. I mean, just because you stop teaching the class doesn't mean kids don't want to know. So now we're like, are they stealing cars? Well, you stop providing them.
Facts.
You stop providing avenues. I had it.
Yeah.
Right? Anybody around my age demographic, they had that same, man. MPS had wood shop, metal shop. Kids actually took swimming. Right? We talk about drowning deaths every summer.
Facts.
Yeah.
But I learned to swim in school. You know what I mean?
I did too.
School I had, the pool's not even open.
Yeah.
It hasn't been open for a couple of years now. Right?
Marv Daniels said MPS saved a lot of money with the COVID shutdown also because they got a bunch of bailouts from the federal government.
Again,
Yeah, I know.
I have something to say on that in about a couple of seconds, but I have a question really quick, Mr. Martin. So in the city budget, the city allocates a grant for Milwaukee Public Schools, right? So you are able from your council seat to set a directive as far as how you want those funds spent and how you will want MPS to conduct themselves in order to receive those funds.
Okay.
Is there anything that you would put as a part of that proposal or directive that stands out to you now as an educator and someone who's running for an automatic seat?
Man, do whatever we can to direct those dollars back to programs in school. Right now, and this is another avenue where I was talking about, money is being I don't say mishandled, but it's going in the wrong direction. Our kids take 5 standardized tests a year.
Yep.
Now those aren't free, right? We paying for the Aspire, we paying for the STAR, we paying for the pre-ACT, we paying for the ACT. Don't get me wrong. When I took the ACT, I paid for it.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't fall asleep. We got kids falling asleep in ACT, but you didn't pay the $200 to take the test.
Yeah.
So you got invested in that, right? So those dollars can be redirected. The dollars you're talking about. If you're saying, because I didn't know that, brother. I'll be honest. I don't know everything about this position,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So if there's dollars that the council has some control over that MPS could use, it has to go back to building well-rounded students and not these send everybody to college robots, because that's why we're failing.
Facts.
The program, bro. People ask me where I learned how to DJ at Marshall. We had broadcast journalism. We had a whole studio. It was a class.
Facts.
That's where I started DJing.
Shout out to Champ Robinson, who
is a product of that.
John
product of that,
Owens and
yeah.
Mr. K were the teachers there, man. And we had a full studio. We working with Matter. We had beta cams. I remember doing Eat Breakfast at School program. I interviewed Bonnie Blair and Anthony Avent when he played for the Bucks a long time ago.
Yeah, no, for sure.
These are the programs that set the foundation for me to have about a $50,000 grossing side business.
Absolutely.
To MPS.
Absolutely.
You know, so I make, some people say they don't pay teachers well. I get paid well. I mean, I'm such a tyrant in the class, bro, that it's almost, it's easy. Some teachers leave stressed out, head, rubbing their head. I leave with a smile on my face every day, man. It's easy. I stump on kids. When I say stump on them, but they respect it. Kids don't want to be in a chaotic room. So when I come in there, if you let them be chaotic, they'll do it.
Facts.
But every kid rips off their hat, takes off the hood because they know I don't allow it. So if we get any dollars from city, if I have any say so in them, they got to bring programs. They got to provide multiple avenues for kids to succeed. I was a military veteran because it was a recruiter sitting outside the damn school every damn day.
Yeah.
Right? They don't show up anymore. I just invited one in my class. That's the first one I've seen in a couple of years. So and somewhere that's been taught that that's a bad path.
So did you ROTC to Grambling? Or no, you didn't?
I was National Guard.
Oh, National Guard.
National Guard, man. And it paid my tuition, right? It just bought me. I haven't been in 20 years.
Absolutely.
I just use I'm still reaping benefits from it. And I try to tell my kids that college is not your only path to success. Right. But when you create that's the only way I'm gonna be successful. Either that or
you're a failure.
My street business.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing money here and I'm not seeing money in what you're saying. Then all of a sudden we get in our crime. So the problems bleed together.
Yeah. So that's another question for what you just brought up. We're speaking to children about seeing the big picture, right? More of a big picture scheme. You're going to go to college or you're going to have this plan. And a lot of them are dealing with issues that are very today. And they're trying to solve issues that are very today with money that they need today,
Mhm.
right? How do we marry education to them receiving some type of funding, some type of stipend for attending school so that we can alleviate some of the crime that we're seeing as a part of the poverty that they're living through?
In terms of what can be handed to them.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not-
for
I-
example, let's say for me, I think school-based enterprise, an educator actually brought this up to me. School-based enterprises are great. It gives businesses an opportunity to partner with the school.
Absolutely.
It gives the children an opportunity to train, like you said, learn a trade. And we're asking those businesses, and it makes the city and the school board proactive in seeking out business that can create jobs for the students that they know they're going to get when they leave school. I think Scalez brings up his cousin all the time. Can you tell that story again?
Yeah, where in my family, I've got the examples of what you're talking about. So we go back 40 years, 50 years, right? My uncles, when they graduated from high school, they had an option. My grandfather was grandfathered in at A.O. Smith, had worked there his whole life. So you could go to work with grandpops. You could go to Whitewater or somewhere, one of UW schools, and go to school. Or you could go get a regular job. But those were the options at that time. Like when I just worked in MPS, my kids didn't have those kind of goals. When I spoke that to my kids, you should have seen their faces. When I told them that that's what my uncles who lived in the same communities as them, grew up black, poor, just like them, had those opportunities just 40, 50 years ago, my students was like, are you serious, Mr. Harvey? Because they hadn't even thought about no shit like that. It was what you said. It was either go to college or be a loser.
Right.
Get what I'm saying? There was no in between. There was no other options. There was no feeder program. You understand what I'm saying? Like even what you just described, what Marshall had, they had that. I know my brother King lives in Miami. He does construction for properties in Miami. You know King Jewel,
Yeah, for sure.
very successful off of that. He learned that at Tech High School in the 90s. You understand what I'm saying? So this wasn't 100 years ago when they was doing this. This was 20 years ago they was doing this shit.
I mean,
You
but
know what
if
I'm
you
saying?
go to
JCP Construction, the Phelps brothers, Cliff and his brothers, one of the biggest construction companies, helped build Fiserv, black owned and operated, learned that shit at Tech High School. So you can't say MPS has failed our community. No, it hasn't. It's the cuts and taking away shit, like you said, and not making students well-rounded that has failed.
So when you have people that are saying things like defund the police or diversify funds, this is what we're speaking to. If a bulk of your budget, right, when we look at major city budgets, a bulk of their budgets are going to the policing of the community. And if what we're saying here as a community, right, is if you pour the money into the children from the start, you don't have to do it on the back end by trying to fund more police and trying to fund more prisons and trying to build the prison and all of that to send them to. If you just poured money into them while they're at school.
Don, if I'm correct, Bayview had a firefighter paramedic program, because there's a lot of brothers who graduated from Bayview that are in the firefighter paramedic business.
No, we had NJROTC, which is where a lot of
those guys came from. Okay.
Sign
but
is
we,
still up there, brother.
yeah.
The room is closed.
What,
the room is closed, but the
NJROTC?
sign is still up there.
The ROTC, ROTC this way.
Like Marv and all of them dudes, you know, they all came out of Bayview. All
And
them
they
cats
all
worked for the fire department.
They all went to
junior ROTC.
NJROTC. The big thing at Bayview was the law program.
Okay.
Which is why
Cavalier Johnson went there. David Crawley went there. Yeah. Okay.
Well, speaking of David Crawley, we want to be fair. We were speaking about the shared revenue system. The county actually has put in a complaint, and the Department of Justice actually is investigating the shared revenue system in Wisconsin. However, back to the original remedy, the Supreme Court is conservative leaning, the U.S. Supreme Court. That's not a Supreme Court we can change in the immediate future.
No.
Right?
But we can change.
But we can change in the very near future, very near, like within a couple of months near, or a month or so near, the leaning of the Wisconsin Supreme Court and make Wisconsin a better place to live and be alive and survive and thrive, right?
Yes,
and that can happen. So just wanted to correct myself.
Why do we spend way too much time playing that gangster game?
What?
The Republican or Democrat,
Yeah,
which
like
gang you in?
That shit's so lame.
That shit is lame as fuck. And it's because, and I get it. I get it, because I understand politics about as well as you do.
Right.
But it's the bipartisan partisan leaning entities that you end up with, because you have like the Supreme Court, which is partisan towards Republican right now. And there's no bipartisan reaching across the aisle compromise
Can I be
between
honest
both
with you?
sides, because it's gang mentality.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't the intention of the people that made sure that the Supreme Court makeup is the way it is today. That wasn't their interest. Their interest wasn't to make sure that there was a bipartisan discussion, nor was their interest to make sure that there was a combination of ideologies that would present a neutral or equal standing in a decision. That wasn't their goal. Okay, their goal was to make sure that their conservative agenda was what was successful in what happened. And so it didn't just start. It was in the founding of this country.
Oh, no. I didn't say it just started.
And not even just in this country, but in others.
Yeah.
People stand on different sides of the issue. One of the original issues was slavery, and it continues to be, just in different forms.
I think that other countries aren't as partisan as American politics are. American politics have
Israel has 20 different parties.
Yeah, exactly. So there has to be some bipartisan cooperation, because you're never getting anything done.
Nobody ever wins enough of
the
election to really get anything done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In terms of, now this is a nonpartisan race,
Yeah.
the alderman district. However,
Right.
I talk to my students, and it's funny that we're talking about this. We're literally on political parties.
Okay.
That's literally the chapter and subject that we're on.
Yeah.
And so I put up all these topics and ask students, what do you think about this one? What do you think about this one? The hotbed topics, abortion, the reaction to COVID, welfare, LGBTQ, whatever it might be. And, I tell them, what do you think about it? Hands go up on different topics or the other. And a lot of them don't realize they think like Republicans.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't.
One thing I tell them is, like, I don't believe, now people get into their, I'm a ride or die, even though I don't necessarily, everything my brother do, I might not be in favor of, but it's still my brother. So I'm on his side.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Gang mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying, look, to be honest, I believe some of the things that I agree with some of the things Republicans say. I agree with some of the things Democrats say. I can't really claim affiliation to either party. Now, in this political game I'm in, I have to, when people ask, because I want to use Act Blue and things like that, I can tell you I'm a Democrat. And I voted Democrat. So it's not like I'm fronting on that.
Yeah.
But if you ask my ideology, it goes on some, it depends on the subject, right? It depends on what we're talking about. Some things I'm very conservative, some things I'm very liberal. So I mean, I think everybody has that same stance, but we get into the gang mentality. He's talking about it, saying, well, since my side is saying this, I gotta ignore my own principles.
I gotta follow the party line.
And I ain't that dude. That's why I'm glad I'm in a nonpartisan race.
Yeah, I think sometimes and I can appreciate what you're saying, Mr. Martin, but I think sometimes we forget to make sure that we come in with our list of demands. I think Black people are probably the only race that shows up and
just be happy to be invited to the party.
That's just
we just be happy that we.
They have decided the menu already. They ask us what we like, then they say what you're allergic to, or nothing like that.
They made potato salad with raisins and shit.
Yeah, they put raisins in the potato salad. They ask you what you like.
Shit.
All of that is done, and then we get invited to the party with our they ain't have no chicken. They had no chicken.
Or we celebrate there wasn't a Black person here before, and there's one here now.
There's one here now. And it's really of we're not on the same accord in our agenda. And I think we walk into that, especially in Wisconsin, it's actually even more magnified, because we have a common council that doesn't seem connected to the city around it. We have a mayor who's celebrating crime going down, but we still have people complaining about the cars being stolen, and we still have people who are dying and being murdered in the midst of police pursuit.
I told you we need Batman. I don't know.
I'm gonna.
I don't know what you want me to do.
I'm gonna throw my phone in.
What's simple? I rock everywhere I go. The Batman, but
Batman.
Yeah.
It's we talk about this also in the issue. With not just the police, and the brutality that happens on that end. But I'm even more up in arms when this brother against brother, man. So yesterday I'm handing out lit. I'm on the block and a kid walks out. Couldn't have been more than 16. Whoa, bro, he's on the phone with this guy, and I'm like, man, I'm just handing out lit, bro. It's dark too, it's rainy. So he comes out, man. He had a clip the size of my arm hanging out of his pocket.
Yeah.
And I had two questions. I was like, young brother, number one, why do you need that? Number two, where did you get it? Because there are no gun stores in this neighborhood.
Facts.
Right? We got guns all over our neighborhood. And I ask my students, how many of y'all have seen a gun? Every hand goes up. How many of y'all know where a gun store is? They're none. So number one, we got to get to the source of how guns are flooding our community, and it ain't a far reach. Most of these guns come from suburban dealers.
Facts.
Right?
Well, if we let's discuss, Mr. Martin. You have a state, right, that has moved or attempted to move to, let's just open carry. You just do what you want to do. We are looking to be Wisconsin, Texas 2.0, right?
Murder rate spiked since we got it.
And since we got it. So you hear what I'm saying? So we're going this way. We have people that are going and getting guns the legal way. They're somehow getting into the hands. We're gonna say somehow.
Somehow, some way.
Somehow. I'm looking into the camera. Somehow, y'all.
Wink, wink.
The guns are getting into the hands of people who shouldn't have them or who can't get them right on their own. And now children who, once they get to these people who, number one, don't, because I actually know that the Kia boys go down to the South Side and get the drug dealers' cars. They wait on them to like go. They go to sleep. They get the drug dealer's car. The drug dealer got a gun in the car. They get a car and a gun.
Well, the thing is now watch them going to the club.
Yeah, they doing that on the north side.
Going to the club.
They do that at the clubs we work at.
Yeah.
We do
Get the car.
Yeah.
And they get the gun.
They do it at Mr. J's every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Break into the car.
They want
They
the
get
gun.
the gun. So the more guns you put on the streets, even legally, right, they're slipping into the hands of people that shouldn't have them and don't know a gun store. So it's these examples that we're using about these children stealing cars that are growing into bigger issues because they're literally 13, 14-year-olds shooting and killing each other at gas stations.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But get to the root, because again, when I talk about, we teach real history and nothing's changed. One thing we talk about the slave trade, right? And one of the biggest things that helped move the slave trade right along was pit African tribes against each other, give them guns, give them rum, right? Give them rum and guns. This triangle trade situation, we got the short end of the stick with that. We've lost people. The best, strongest men take them, healthiest women take them. Put guns and liquor in that tribe, and watch what happens.
I don't want to talk to you as a candidate right now. I love what you're bringing up, but I'm on your street. I'm going where you're going.
See on every corner in our hood right now.
It's
guns all over. It's the same shit.
Different. But let's stay with the history. Because I love this. Just recently, I should have put this on the paper, but I didn't. But he brought it up, so it's coming up organically. Emmanuel Ocho.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Acho. Whatever the man names is, I really don't care. I'm trying not to call him a bitch in front of Mr. Mark.
Ooh.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Emmanuel Acho. Is that how I say it? I'll be respectful.
No, that's his name.
All right, it's Acho. Okay. All right, that's his name. So he has an opinion in regards to being a black man in America. If you know the history of Nigeria, you would know that they actually sold slaves into the transatlantic slave trade. It's actually how their kingdom came to be so prominent. That's what they traded, people. That's what the Woman King, you watched the movie The Woman King, kind of derived out that. I don't know if that was Nigeria though or not, or modern day Nigeria or not. But he has an opinion. He says he's not, or he doesn't have the hurts that African Americans, or what I would want to say the descendants of freedmen, would have, right? Because his ancestors were not slaves. Can you share with us, as a educator on world history, why this idiot wouldn't have the hurt that we would have as a newfound black man in America, benefiting from laws and things and work and marches that descendants of freedmen built here in this country? Facts. Get your shit off, Mr. Martin. Go and tell him.
And now, so I want to get to your actual question. You asked me.
Can you say, why wouldn't he feel the hurt? What does history tell us?
Why wouldn't a Nigerian born NFL player?
None of his ancestors were slaves.
Okay.
I mean, he's just foolish to believe that. Right. I don't know where that rationale or thought process comes from. There were Nigerians were sold into slavery. You on that coast, you were going. All right. So number one, we got to probably educate this brother. And I don't know him from a can of paint. This is just this name. You guys are saying I'm just right. I don't know.
TV sports analyst. Used to play football.
He's on the show with Joy Taylor. Which is all that matters on that show is Joy Taylor.
He used to be with my man Marcellus Wiley.
Okay, I know Marcellus Wiley. I watched Pardon the Interruption and Around the Horn. Those are my 2 sports shows. So
And he come on the one right after that with Jason Wilborn. He used to be with Wilborn, crazy ass too.
But they're not on ESPN.
No, they on
Yeah,
what's that?
I don't
Fox
think
or
they're on
something?
ESPN.
Yeah, that's him right there.
Okay, yeah, I don't know this, brother.
Yeah.
You don't need to know him.
Okay.
But
I heard him speak at a conference in Nashville. He had a very thwarted understanding of the women's suffrage movement and black women's relation to it. He didn't understand that.
Oh, he's not American.
even with that, Don, the destruction that the transatlantic slave trade had on Africa, the impact that it had on Africa impacts him. I don't give a fuck if you don't know my story about growing up in the ghetto and people being lynched and hung from trees and we being fruit. I know, okay, you might not know nothing about that. But what you do know is I got here by something that destroyed your country. Nigeria, Liberia, all these countries, me and Mike been watching the New Guinea. Like he said, anything on that coast, bro, was destroyed during the transatlantic slave trade.
I don't know the brother, but I bet you he speak French. I mean,
He might.
because he's a victim of imperialization.
The Ocho shit is French.
Yeah.
That's not African. Ocho is French.
Right.
That's not African.
And I don't know the brother.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet you we know French.
You either
because
if you come from over there, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I said how this, and again, I don't know
Hmm?
but from what I'm hearing. Sounds like a brother that doesn't know his country was imperialized like everybody else.
Come on.
Chopped up.
I mean, his name is Emmanuel.
Berlin, like everybody else. Every other country.
Emmanuel's a
chopped
French
up.
name.
And there were no Africans in the meeting.
No.
The meeting in Berlin, right?
No.
See?
They just say you can have this part. You have Spain. You take this. Portugal. You take that.
Dutch take this.
you take
Yeah,
Dutch,
yeah.
take
You
that.
take this piece.
And so again, brother, if you that deep in your roots, what you speaking all this French for? Just like I'm speaking English, and my Latino students, I'm telling you, y'all speak Spanish. Spain across the sea, y'all ain't. Those are not your roots.
Mm-mm.
But it takes a brother to have a mind and to notice. I mean, that sound like a guy who doesn't want to know because this ain't hard to find out.
No, it
This
ain't
is not new information.
at
He even
all.
wrote a book.
Jesus.
So
Two of them.
I have a question for a history teacher, which is it's fantastic, right? Do you believe that all of us come from Africa?
You saying the out of Africa theory, the
Yes.
Africa model of globalization?
Yeah.
No.
Origin of man.
I'm saying
Origin
us.
of man.
I'm saying
Oh,
us,
black people?
the black people in America.
Don believes that there were Africans here.
Before the
Free-
slave trade.
And they
I
even
don't have any evidence of that, brother. And I don't, I listen to theories. I hear people say it.
Mm.
I mean, I haven't seen empirical evidence of it, but if you can show me some evidence, I'm willing to listen to anything.
Do you believe that they brought 4 million slaves over on boats?
Man, it's hundreds of years of this, bro. This is not, we're not talking like a 2-day trip. You know what I mean? Of course I do. Vast majority landing in South America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, with the way, Britain was a brutal regime,
Yeah.
right? The most deadly in the history of the world, if you ask me.
Facts.
But Spain, French,
Just wasn't far behind. No.
I mean, all these European countries, bro, were at it. They were determined to get resources, to get land, to grow their empire.
Well, can we be fair? Let's be fair. Can we say that Britain was like the Henry Ford of transatlantic slave trade?
Oh, yeah.
But the originator, the original, is actually the Portuguese.
It's the Portuguese and the Dutch. Yeah, they started the shit.
Yeah.
They got it cracking out the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Portugal and Spain share the same continent. So those are the same people pretty much. They just got a border between them.
Yep.
They the same. Portuguese and Spain
So
is the same shit.
man. I mean, people got over here and had babies too. So I mean, that
Yeah.
adds to the amount of slaves over here.
I just always I'm always thrown by the notion that you pick up 100 slaves in Africa.
I'm with you, Don. That trip takes like a year and a half.
No, it takes 4 years.
Oh, 4 years. My bad.
With sailing, it takes 4 years.
Yeah.
Well,
Around the coast of Africa, across the Atlantic Ocean to America.
but
takes
most
4
of,
years.
But most of them were
West.
going from places like Nigeria, places
New
lower
Guinea.
lower on the African continent,
Okay.
and going straight into places like Brazil.
It still
They
took
were
4
not,
years.
but they were not having to do all the things that you're describing. It was closer. That's where the South
the
America
distance, yeah.
and
The vast
Africa
majority landed in South
South America. Yeah.
is where they were closer going into Brazil.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, they are
Don
black.
be watching a lot of
They
stuff.
are black
You
people.
gotta
No, hold
forgive
on.
me.
I'm not off base. I'm not off base.
In North America.
Go ahead
Right.
then.
So
Go ahead. What you got?
you hold 100. You can hold 100 slaves in a ship at the time.
Okay.
And it was tight packers, bro. They get more than that.
Okay, so half of them died.
Half of them died.
So half of them died.
Half of them died.
Yeah, because that trip, you weren't surviving.
You weren't surviving the trip.
But they also had insurance, Don. They had insurance.
The
on
fuck
them
does
people.
insurance mean?
That mean I can buy some more motherfuckers to bring over.
Okay. So
It's gonna take you another 4 years.
It took you 4 years. It took you 4 years to get over to America.
But what makes
4
you
years
think,
to get back.
What makes you think I'm going to get my own niggas?
Where the niggas at in South America?
Right. Well, I'm going to get them from. Did you leave them at a way station in South America?
Well, they actually did.
Wait. Listen.
That's how we ended up in Jamaica and Dominican Republic and all them places. So
Is that how it went?
Yeah, they broke slaves in the Caribbean. It was called the bucking system. They did bring you to the Caribbean first. That's why a lot of us spoke Spanish. Then when we got to America, they broke us from speaking Spanish and made us speak they shit. So we were period of time, yeah. But what I do,
just have 50 people a pop. I'm like,
but what I do believe with Don's theory, because from Christopher Columbus, from accounts of indigenous people, from Magellan and all these guys, there were Africans on those journeys with those people who were not slaves. That's documented. And those people stayed in North America. They did not leave. They stayed here. It ain't like they got back on their boat.
Right.
No, they didn't have 400,000 babies. I'm just saying me and Don are trying to blow past the theory that they try to teach us that none of us got here until 1619. Which is a lie. We were already here. We knew how to travel the earth since the Egyptians. So you mean to tell me none of us came over here before the Portuguese decided to come?
I will say prior to 1619, the indigenous nations do have documented history of seeing Africans.
Yeah.
Not in bondage.
Not in bondage. Yeah. They weren't slaves.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now, and then later on, seeing them come back
in as slaves, exactly. And was wondering what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, but you have you have your own country, and what Don is missing in this is that there are Africans.
I'm not missing.
I'm finna help you.
Yeah, the Moors. Come on, Marv, come down my street. Talk about the Moors. Yeah, the Moors knew how to travel the world and science and all that shit when the white man was still crawling on his hands and knees, boss. So we were definitely in North America way before they tried to say we were here.
And not even just to even point that out, but even to say that there were some countries whose sole export was people.
Yeah.
They didn't have nothing else to trade.
Yes.
But people. So what they would go do is they would take over kingdoms, get people, sell them.
Don, religion. Don, what do I say? The South.
Whole kingdom.
I tell you, like I say, the worst person on the planet Earth to me that ever lived is Southern chattel slavery people that worked and lived in that lifestyle. That human being to me is one of the that I ever seen with my own two eyes is one of the worst people. Because they took Christianity and made it okay. It made it okay to put people in bondage when that is the opposite of what God teaches.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So they're polar opposites of what the religion represents, but they took the religion with the gun and the alcohol and took it around the world. They didn't just do that in Africa. They did that in Cambodia. They did it anywhere that you're impoverished that you could do that at. I'm saying not just the United States, Europe also included. That's the thing. They show up with the gun, the Bible, and the alcohol, bro. And once you get done with the people with those three things, you have their mind.
I'm not debating
you control
whether or not the slave trade ever happened. I'm
not. No, I know you're not.
I'm not debating that. I believe it happened.
Yeah.
I just don't believe the fact that they say, "Oh, we all come from."
So you
from slavery.
That there's an indigenous theory that we were.
I believe all the Native Americans were black.
It was a Pangea. I mean, I guess.
So you think they mixed with the Native Americans to make them look like what they are right now?
With the Native Americans to make them look like what they are now.
Of course, that's not argued.
Even look at the statues.
I believe they were black.
Even the statues that were built in Aztec in Mexico. Them people got African noses and African features and shit on them statues in Mexico.
Facts.
So
we are, and we have to understand that black, white, that is an American construct.
Right. Yeah, that's American construct.
And so they were of African descent.
Everybody is of African descent, Don.
That's about to be the next words in my mouth.
Everybody is.
Keep on. In a Pangea situation, your theory could be correct because things are together.
Y'all believe white people are of African descent?
White people are of African descent. See, what you have to understand is that white people come from modern day Turkey.
Maybe.
They are an albino line of the Turkish people.
Maybe.
Okay, and then as they migrated, and
the Turkish Caucasus Mountains in Turkey are right there together. They're right underneath Russia, which separates them. Hold on, which separates them from Asia. If we're going science,
that's where they ship landed.
Time out. I'm just going science, Don. If we just go science, okay, and you look at the white male, female species, they look just like Turks, bro.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And then not Southern Turks, because Southern Turks look like Arabics. They're Northern Turks above the equator in the mountains, the Caucasus Mountains. That's where the Caucasian comes from, which is Russia. Right. Them dudes who be in the NBA. That's what them, the Yugoslavia and all them places. But no, for real, them dudes in the NBA, that's what they are.
Yeah.
That's where white people come from. Them. Then they migrated to Britain and all of these places. Yeah.
They're farmers and they migrate. So that's how it goes. It goes that way. But we
I mean, you know.
I don't even know how we got here, but
he's a history teacher.
Guns and liquor.
No, and he tied it to
but it's great. I just don't want to come too far from
I'm just Mike, I tell you right now, black people, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
They didn't let us in the prohibition game.
No,
we wouldn't be where we are right now. No, alcohol. I'm just going back to Martin's theory. Martin doing that to me right now has opened my eyes to damn the Bible, alcohol, and the gun is how they control the world, bro.
Pay attention. This is all we have always been. We have always been. America has always been Sin City.
Facts.
America is
Sodom and
Britain's
Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah. America is Britain's
garbage.
Las
Vegas. Dumpster. Yeah, it's their
That's
dumpster.
what it is. Okay, so
they shitted out their criminals over here and made them left them over here to start a country. Them, that's their other one.
That's another one.
No, that's their other one. That's Great Britain's other shithole is Australia. It's America and Australia. It's bi-coastal.
It's a Diet Coke.
Specifically, Georgia was designed for inmates.
Yeah.
But Georgia, that colony was founded to send
inmates.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you look at that, right? They were allowed to do slavery here in a time where slavery was illegal. It was not legal.
It was illegal around the world. Get what Mike is saying, Don. It was banned by the world. Other countries.
Transport.
Other countries.
But we got to be clear about that too. That's only with contract.
Sure.
And that's only by the order of the king, right? Or whatever authority is there.
I'm talking post-revolution. You're talking pre.
I'm talking pre. Pre-revolution.
There were countries like Spain had outlawed slavery pre the American Revolution. Okay. I'm talking 100 years before that.
But they did that for Mexico.
Oh yeah, they did that for Mexico.
But if we're looking in their other different colonies that they had, but if you're looking at America, you have slavery, right? That was the industry. Then that was outlawed. Then you got owning prisons. Then that was the move. Now that may not come about, but black people weren't really participating in that. Then you got the weed industry. We can't really participate in that.
Real estate. Don't leave out real estate.
Yeah, we left out, the
redlining and all that shit.
The redlining and all of that. These things that were cut out of.
How many black insurance companies are there? Oof. That's big business in America. Farmers. Dun, 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 dun. Farmers been around, bro, since slavery.
Biggest hustle. One of the biggest criminal hustles.
Facts. Arsonists and all that. Think about that, Don. Set the shit on fire. What the mob teaches? Oh, it ain't making no money. Set that motherfucker on fire and collect the insurance money. That's the way of it. That's the American way.
But we can't keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe, though, brother.
Facts.
I mean, guys, the same tricks working on us. You know what I mean?
Because we don't know our history.
Yeah, it's because we don't know. Because we don't have conversations like we having right now. You see what I'm saying?
We don't have a history. They erased it.
No, we got a history.
We have a history.
We got history,
and they erased it.
They just don't teach it to us, Don.
Tell me where my tribe comes from.
You got to go and do your African ancestry.
Man,
Don.
that shit ain't real.
Who said
that shit ain't real? Who telling you? Who's giving you your African ancestry? A white man?
No, it's a black people. Black people do African ancestry.
Man, how?
Ask them.
How? But you get to a certain point, they wasn't keeping notes.
What they cannot do, what they cannot do is they cannot give you direct names and things like that.
So like how the Jews can be like, I'm from this.
Man, the Jews can tell you exactly who the fuck they came from.
So the problem with us, like Mike is saying, is there's no connection to your tribe. So the farthest they could probably go back is the docket that was kept for you.
No, they're going to tell you, they're not even going to give you a docket. It's not like ancestry.com.
No, what I'm saying is
bullshit.
With American, what I'm saying with blacks in America, the furthest you can really get back to our history is whatever piece of paper that your ancestor was kept on.
And
you get what I'm saying?
It usually didn't start happening until like the 1800s.
And that didn't usually start happening until the 1800s.
Exactly. Yeah, so tell me where the fuck my tribe came from before then.
Yeah, how do we
first of all, Donald, okay, like I said before, there's an African ancestry that would allow you to understand kind of what tribe or what region you're from and what
It's
tribe
a good
you come
guess,
from.
Don.
It's a nice,
It's a scientific guess.
to get you down to
It's
the tribe.
A guess.
It's
To
a
get you
guess.
down to the tribe.
A guess.
But what they can't do is, at the moment, they don't have the capabilities of telling you exactly who's your great granddaddy.
Now you go ask
Yeah.
Abraham Golden where the fuck he came from.
Yeah, there's people. I mean, they had the same situation in terms of our history being stripped.
Yeah.
And also the same concern to maintain that history. But I can oftentimes use the eye test. Don. I'll be honest. I can look at a sister that's from here and be like, man, she have to have Nigeria.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, facts.
Eritrean roots anywhere. They just have a
The African phenotype is the strongest.
Yeah, from Southside.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But you can tell. So some things the eye test.
So
Yeah.
really, the goal was, in the grand scheme of things, because of brothers like Hannibal and Mansa Musa and King Tut and all these powerful leaders, and before they start keeping records and shit, and before the white man got a part of the game, the goal was to make Africa not a powerful nation. Because if you keep Africa connected and you let us go to other parts of the world and still be connected to our tribe, bro, we're the most powerful people on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's some domination type shit.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? So the goal is, as I watch this, like he said, no Africans were at the meeting of Berlin when they broke up Africa. How you just breaking up Africa and no African representation was in the room at all? That was a part of the grand scheme. Stealing us from Africa was a part of taking away. That's soldiers, like he said. Those are soldiers taken away from that. Even if I throw them over the side of the boat, that's less soldiers in your army when I come fight you.
So how do you,
or when I come to conquer
that?
you? Because that was the thing about Africa. It was all about conquering.
Well, how do you reconcile that in 2023?
Shit.
How do you reconcile that in 2023, where U.S. government is just now deciding to invest in Africa, right? They're just now making that decision, and only making that
because
decision
China has.
Because China,
because
has.
China, and not just
Competition with
China, Russia.
Yeah, Russia too.
That's new imperialism.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what's happening is they're allowing these African countries to be put into debt, and the only reason that it is becoming an issue for them, these African countries are already in debt.
Already in debt. Let's talk about that. It's like
and-
Haiti.
Yeah, already.
Forever in debt.
They're already in debt, but all of a sudden it is now alarming.
Yeah, 'cause the World Bank is tripping.
Yes, the World
Yeah.
Bank is like, hold on, what the fuck going on?
It is now
They
alarming.
defaulting on all these loans.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? They gonna front the loan. I don't think we want them to front the loan, America.
Also known as the Iron Bank.
You see what I'm saying? They're definitely the Iron Bank. So bring it all the way back to our Common Council. Let's circle this.
You've been
over.
trying to get back here for a
Let's
minute.
bring it
I'm
back.
trying to get.
I'm trying to
get
circle them
beyond.
back. I'm trying to
But-
circle them back. I want them back just to be an educator and world history teacher.
Yeah.
Just on the thing. I love it. I like not with being Scales not being. It gives a legitimacy,
Yeah.
so they're not thinking we just talking.
It's all like
outside
we
of our
just
neck.
be blowing our smoke. You know what I mean? With you sitting here, it kind of makes with me, Don, and Mike, it gives us a little validity. You know what I mean?
That's a validity.
So if you feel like we taking you down this conspiracy theory diatribe, don't feel bad.
As
Like,
a historian, it's all
yeah.
guesswork.
Yeah, it's all
You gotta-
guesswork.
You know,
Yeah.
there's some evidence, there's some
That-
evidence you can
that-
argue with, but a lot of it is guessing.
Yeah, that's why I hate the stigma on the conspiracy theory. You have to have a theory
to even create the
to
conspiracy.
investigate.
But you all do not present your theories as theories. You present them as fact, and that's the issue.
Well, that's one of the problems. But that's all that get lost in context, though.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
So I'll be like, hey,
that get lost in
now, wait a
context
minute.
sometimes.
I have to always say, wait, where you get that from?
I mean, I listen. So
but
listen,
the white
so listen,
man
I
is
got-
so ridiculous. Like
They are
even
ridiculous.
some of them brothers' conspiracy theories aren't that bad because the white man is ridiculous. Like
Now
he's a motherfucker.
there has been some,
Not all of them.
You know
but
what they do best?
the 1%, I'll say.
You know what they
some
do
motherfuckers.
best? You know what white people do best? Lie.
Yeah.
Well, throughout history, let's be fair. Throughout history, let's be fair. I
Turn your mic off.
I see Mr. Martin tugging on his hat. So let's be fair.
Give me
Yeah, let's be
5 years
fair.
from now with a clip.
Yeah.
Right. Throughout history, there have been.
Knights rode on horses.
Excuse me. Shut your mouth.
Horses are indigenous to
Shut
North
your
America.
mouth. Throughout history,
Okay.
there has been our white counterparts who have, just like today, stood on both sides of the issue. Stood on both sides of
Because it helps
assisting-
them, but that's the product of
Not
white privilege.
necessarily,
No,
but wait a
Mike,
minute.
that's a product of white privilege because
Not-
it helps them.
Not from everybody. There have been white people, just like there are white people today, who have dedicated their lives. Abolitionists is what they were called. Some of them,
It's true.
and not all abolitionists are created equal. I'm going to say that as
They're
well.
not.
But that have also helped to make sure that the freedoms of African American people that are recognized not only here but abroad. There are people in New York. New York. There are people in Europe, people in Britain that have fought on behalf of Black people whose names you don't even know. So let's just let's be fair.
Because I can tell you right now, when I walk out the crib, I'm like, I hope the British ain't out here.
Yeah, it ain't
the
the British.
about people who look like me.
I'm not worried about Russia either. I'm worried about people that look like me.
To say that,
right?
Me too.
But right now, man, we are our own worst enemies, and we got to save ourselves.
I gotta disagree, Mr. Martin.
Mike hate when we
hate that expression.
I don't leave my house worried about if a white person is gonna rob me that day.
But you also do not have a person that looks like you in Madison, making sure that you're scared to leave your house, and it's someone that looks like you is going to be pointing a gun in your face.
Man, if I wait for the people in Madison, I'm gonna get shot. I gotta get out there and get these young brothers playing golf, man. I gotta find something else for them to do.
That's true. But what I always say, and what you already know, everything is by design. And so that child being on that street with that gun is by design.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not by happenstance. And so it is not because we made sure that child had a gun.
Right.
It is because people made sure in Madison that those children will have easier access to guns.
And I grew up in the crack era. Guns, they weren't foreign then.
No,
but
they were hard to get.
They were putting that out there. I mean, I've held one as a teenager and shot, went in the alley. My gun training was running the alley, shoot my dad, pop, pop, real quick, run back to the house.
Yeah.
But I also had the Beckham Stapleton League.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean?
I talked about that on here. Warning.
Brags and Pits with Sensei Carlos Davidson, who had an option for me. I also had Brags and Pits with the Commandos who were right on North Avenue.
I went to Northcott
in that time.
I went to Northcott.
So again, the gun was there, but now it's nothing but the gun.
Yeah.
Right. All these other Warning League. I can't even play basketball. I wrestled since 6th grade. But Warning League was a huge thing here and kept a lot of kids out of trouble off the street. When I say bring back programs that we had, bring back what kids deserve. We trying to give our kids better. We're not giving them what we had. Kids don't know how to catch the bus. They don't know how to drive. Right. We talked about jobs in high school and that connection. And my kids get on my back about this, but it's my opinion. You know, when they talk about things like $15 minimum wage, I'm not with that. I'll be honest. If you're talking McDonald's, Burger King, no, I'm not. First of all, the service sucks. You don't deserve $15. But two, those jobs were designed. Like I can't raise my kids. Those jobs weren't designed for you to raise 4 kids on.
But that's what
high school kids.
But that's what America has fell off
to learn how to go to a job, punch a clock, get some work ethic, know how to dress, talk, meet with people, socialize. That builds you out. That also
Mr. Martin,
builds you for a career later.
That's not the American dream. And
no, McDonald's is not. I worked at Pizza Hut. It wasn't my American dream to work at Pizza Hut the rest of my life, but it taught me certain work ethic principles that I need.
But entry level positions, right, that are offered here today that people are able to get today.
We're talking 14, 15, 16-year-olds.
We're talking 18-year-olds.
Well, I'm talking to
19.
If we wait till the high school. Doomed.
I'm talking about
if we wait till they're 18 and start teaching them work ethic. We're doomed.
Like I caddied at 12, Mike, and was getting a check. I was a caddy and was bringing home a check to my mom at 12 years old, bro.
I was a caddy at 12. When I was 16, I worked at TCF Bank, so I understand. But what I also know is that a lot of times the jobs that these people would have been able to obtain in a different America, right, in a 90s America, where they would have been able to walk into a factory and get a job with their entry-level credentials and get benefits and get a pension and get a good pay and not have to worry about asking you to raise the minimum wage. But that's not available. And that's a responsibility of the community to say, are we offering our constituents positions that they can go out of their high school and not have to jump through 15 hoops just to get a decent job?
Man, my brother Clayton Mesh, who I hope if I get past his primary, he's a big supporter of the unions, and he went out to Roundy's. I went to college.
Right.
He went to work on the docks at Roundy's. Right. These jobs still exist.
Yeah, no, those jobs.
Yeah, Roundy's definitely still exist. Yeah.
And so right now he's the Midwest union rep, making buku dollars.
Right.
No, I'm sitting here with $80,000 worth of college debt still.
Yeah,
right. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't trade my time at Grambling for nothing. It's
in the
worth
world.
Every $80,000
it made you who you are today. In fact,
it was cracking.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I tell people that
I couldn't go to HBCU.
I tell people that all the time.
for me to have graduated in 98 and I'm still paying for college, Brownies look damn good.
Yeah.
Clayton owned 2 homes. I mean, he doing very well and never took a lick of college. And I know a lot of brothers in that story.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, that the jobs I'm talking about, but we were talking about how can I help my family now?
Yeah.
We can't say Taco Bell and Pizza Hut is understaffed. Or we can't open a spot today because we understaffed. Why half the kids at Bayview don't work? More than half. These are 14, 15-year-olds with no jobs. I was working at that age, bro.
Yeah.
And helping provide. I have to ask my mom for no shoe money or my pops for shoe money because I could get it.
I was across the street at the McDonald's across the street.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying stay in that job the rest of your life, but it starts the foundation for responsible citizenship.
But what if you are, because I hear people say that, what you said before, though, what you said when you say a person, well, McDonald's is not meant to be a job you work for 40 hours. Right, that's not meant to be a job.
Raise your 4 kids.
Or raise your 4 kids.
It's a part-time gig, You know?
But what if it's not, though?
But I'm saying, let's say what
if it's not?
But I'm saying,
this person.
What I'm saying,
so
he's not saying if it's for that person. He's speaking more or less to the students that he see every day.
Yeah.
So, for instance, even like myself, I had a student that he told me that he didn't want to work or do none of that because he wanted to sell drugs because he wanted to provide immediately for his family. He didn't want to wait 2 weeks for a paycheck like he see his mama, because he said he see his mama do it and she still don't have no money. So he said the only person he see with money every day is his uncle that hustles. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Plus he got 4 or 5 brothers that he's helping his mother with. His daddy locked up. His mama at work all day. He's the head of the household at 14.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was me.
So it gets to the point where we have to stop looking at these children and saying, oh yeah, that little part-time gig is going to work for you. It's not.
It's not.
We're learning from them that it isn't.
Yeah.
So
I disagree. I think it did a whole lot for me. I don't know why it's not. They make more than I was making. I was $450.
I think the cost of living is higher now.
I think were you taking care of were you
the sole provider of my home?
Yeah.
Of course not. My dad worked for Delphi. My mom was a beautician.
Yeah.
Right? So of course not. But again, don't get me wrong. I stood outside of Washington High School in the cheese line. I mean, there was a time we was on welfare and we moved away with that. I'm not a fan of welfare piece. I told you I got some things that I think I kind of agree with the Republican side of it. Right? I'm not a fan of being on welfare 20 years. I'm not, bro.
No.
I mean,
but I feel like
you got to get up.
I feel like the focus that we've had for so long has been on making sure that the program is so unpleasant that people don't want to be on it for a long time, rather than creating a community that's thriving so well.
It's just like the prison,
that they just naturally don't qualify.
It's just like the prison system thing. It's like prison system is supposed to reform people, but it doesn't really do it. They keep people on paper and in probation for 20, 30 years, and they never get any reformation. They never change or really turn into anything.
Bro, I asked the question in my class every year to every student. Yeah. How many of y'all can't wait to get a Quest card? You know how many hands go up, bro? You can't wait to be poor.
Yeah, exactly. You
say what you want to say, Mr. Martin. That Quest card.
Nah. No, but I'm saying, but you don't got to be qualified to get
I'm joking.
Mike. Yes, exactly. What y'all have just done right now is broke ground on this platform. We were embarrassed to spend food stamps.
I was too. That book.
Now a kid will pull out a green card in front of the classroom like he the richest nigga in the school.
Wearing it like a necklace.
Necklace,
At Bayview.
No,
a little hole punched in it.
For real?
Wearing it like a necklace. They can't wait to get. They can't wait to be poor,
man. I'm upset, but I'm not upset. But I'm upset. I'm upset. I don't want you to be ashamed of where you come from.
Boots on the ground. I see.
I done been proud to go and slap. When the food stamp was actual food stamp. You hear me?
Bro, I hid in the back of the store till everybody left.
Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of us did. I didn't like. I didn't like to spend food stamps.
Look, we was living on 39th Monarchy. I usst to walk around the corner to the quarter store and proudly.
Do you hear me? On 41st Monarchy.
See, you younger. You're a lot younger than us too. You younger than us, and so there was no pride.
Don't let it be a 5. Don't let it be a 5 food stamp. I whip it out.
Bro, I went to the whole store would empty out. Before I go up to that counter.
We used to have that little book. We used to have that little booklet, and we pull that booklet out.
Right, Don.
You want to get out of that. The motive was to
get out of that.
But we got kids who can't wait to get one, Mike.
That's because some of them
kids fight the mentality, bro.
Yeah. Some of them kids don't eat good into that.
You're definitely fighting against a mentality, a loser mentality at that.
Gas station swiping chips and sodas, and
they're
not eating good.
They can't cook. It's
they all on the
diet. Teach your home ec, bro.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, the home ec room stuff. Mr. Marr wants to bring back school programs. That's a part of
You
his platform.
definitely need that shit, though.
We
I am
gotta
definitely a
have it.
fan of it.
They don't teach them how to live real life.
Yeah. It's either like he
Go to
said, it's go to college
college,
or you're a failure. It's
Yeah.
one or the other.
Bro, they still fucking teach geometry. When the fuck does a kid do you use geometry?
I have
When you play
never
pool?
once stopped and said, you know what, this trapezoid
Yeah, this pie.
is definitely
This
giving me
pie
some
is a
trouble today.
3.14.
I've never stopped and said that ever.
They
Never.
rather teach fucking geometry
I've never
in
said,
school
you know what I can
than
find
home
out?
economics.
I can measure the degrees of this
Fuck
angle.
financial literacy.
Yeah.
And I can definitely get through tomorrow. I've never said it. I feel like we should have schools that gear you, and even the college system is broken. We'll talk about college rankings in a minute. But when you look at schools like schools in New York, like this is a school of music. I think we should be more like that. Like we have our
Well, when I worked
school
in MPS, one of the best models while I was there on the high school level was Milwaukee High School of the Arts.
I feel like we should do that. We should
Principal
have communication
Applewright,
schools.
he's a
we did.
we
You're
did.
saying what I said.
Yeah.
Marshall was the communication
Communication
Yeah.
school.
North had a
Specialty,
I think
yeah.
It was nursing.
Yeah, Tech had the
Tech had a
specialty.
specialty.
Yeah.
Every school had a specialty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And when they
And
stripped
it
it,
wasn't Vincent was farming.
It could have been.
They said Vincent was farming.
yeah, Vincent was
Yeah,
farming.
Vincent was
yeah.
farming.
Vincent was farming.
Agriculture school.
I think we have to go back to our roots.
I sold you on what I was, because that's what I was talking
I was
about.
already told, Mr. Martin.
He was already so he just was playing his rolling.
I just had to
rolling
ask you
Martin.
questions.
Got to get that back.
Yeah, we
man.
gotta get it
are
back.
doomed, bro. If we try to send every kid to college and get them in $80,000
Come
worth
on.
of debt.
Yeah.
I make more, bro. My degree is in criminal justice. Now, I'm a former corrections officer, former probation officer.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So that's where my degree is.
Hmm.
I don't make no money off my degree. I'm a teacher now.
Yeah.
Right? I make more off the skill DJ that I learned in high school than I do off my college degree.
Talk about it.
Because I don't make a dime off my degree.
Mm-mm. We ain't gonna talk about how many people kind
Now,
of default.
I
to
wouldn't be
criminal
getting.
justice sometimes,
I wouldn't
so.
be in the public school system if I didn't have a degree.
Mhm.
So it gets you
Yeah.
in some doors. But again, I'm still paying for it.
Because a lot of
I
us,
graduated.
can we keep it real? A lot of us default to criminal justice in college when we get there. We either default to criminal justice, teaching, or social. At least that's how it was.
Well, I
at
chose
UWM.
To be honest, I wanted to be working law enforcement. I mean,
Really?
I took the. I took the
Plug that up.
LSAT. You know, I wanted to go to law school.
I wanted to be a lawyer too.
Yeah. So
I
I
did.
chose it. It wasn't like, I mean, they funnel kid, but Grandma has one of the largest nursing programs in northern Louisiana.
Hmm.
I mean, that's and to be honest, people, here historically black college, most of I don't say most, 40% of that nursing program is white.
Hmm.
Like white students come to Grandma
Yeah.
for the nursing program. So they try to filter a lot of us that direction, male or female. They try to, say this is our strongest program. But no, I chose criminal justice.
Yeah.
And I chose education because I'm like, I need to help my community. I can see, first of all, the probation system is nothing but a racket. Like that's
It's just like the college thing. Like I said,
that was
just going
the
to keep
happiest
you
thing I ever did.
paying
It
for
was
the
when
rest
I
of
quit,
your life.
Yeah.
and resigned, but I already secured a job as a teacher.
Yeah.
Working in Dallas. But education was where I was like, well, maybe I can stop them before they get to this criminal justice system.
Right. Right.
Maybe I can have an impact there. And I have, and I ain't have to saving the world, but I guarantee you I had the influence in my classroom every year on 2-3% of my students. That may not seem like a large number, but in the grand scheme of things, when I teach 200 students, if I can save 20, bro. I'm
No.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing. It's amazing how we continue to look at the problem from an outside perspective.
Mhm.
We never attack American social issues as black people the way white people attack it.
We'll talk, Don. All this time you've been speaking. I've been waiting for you to show up to this conversation for at least the whole hour. So you go ahead and do your speech. Because I'm ready to hear it. Because I like where you're going.
America's number one thing since day one
There you go.
has been buying people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do it all the time.
Yeah.
Still.
Yep.
They buy politicians.
Yeah.
They buy lawmakers.
Talk about it.
They buy judges. They
Yep.
buy that. Why aren't we buying like they buy?
Can I tell you?
Why?
90% of black people live under poverty. They don't
But
have the
one,
we have
the
a
1%
spending.
is the 1% is the people doing the buying.
Well, hold on. And it's kind of hard because when you convince the 1% that white supremacy is better, then they kind of go with it too. They become Republicans themselves. 50 Cent was all over media talking
Kodak
about it.
Black.
Yeah.
It happens to a lot of black people. Once you put them in that
Yeah.
financial category, they flip.
It's the
And
confusion.
It's the easiest way to flip a
and
nigga.
And again, you're thinking from a very partisan standpoint.
Emma,
Like it has to be one or the other.
Hmm.
You know why rich black men vote Republican? Because it saves their money.
right?
Because Republicans they preach tax cuts and deregulation
Yeah.
for rich people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason.
Okay,
And
so what Mike is saying is, if you're fighting for people, the other people a part of your shit is 90% underneath the poverty level, then you don't feel grouped in with those people. You're grouped in with the tax cut people.
You don't have the money to fight like that.
Why?
Not like
Rihanna came by. Rihanna, a conglomerate of the black billionaires.
I'm not
in
saying
America
they can't.
buy politicians.
I'm
I
not
always
saying
said
they
we needed
can't.
our own political
I'm
party.
saying- I'm
you
not
know,
saying-
that's what Killer Mike be on. That's what I've been on. That
And again, it's a reinvention of the wheel because there used to be a black convention.
convention, yeah, it used to be a black convention, used to be black Republicans, all types of shit. That's a whole nother show, though.
But we have to get on one accord about what we need as people, right? We got the Congressional Black Caucus, but us as a people, how are we engaged, right? How are we making sure that we are engaged together? In Milwaukee, we have 50 different, just for this seat alone that Mr. Martin is running for. You have David Bowen, you have Andre Pratt, you have Mr. Martin, you have Zandra Bailey.
Tony.
Yeah, so you have
We have only 5. The others have
Yeah,
7
7, 9.
7 and 9.
yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? You have all these candidates. Black people are not on the same accord.
by design.
You're just not.
By design.
Well, right now everybody thinks they have a different. Everybody has a vision for the district. Everybody wants to see it improve. I can't believe there's anybody. Well, at least in my race, I don't know everybody. I know my man Thad is in the other race, and Odell, and I know they want to see the city improve. But I know the 5 people running in the first all want to see city improvement.
So you comfortable even if you take a L, you feel like,
Man, I've already actually talked to Vincent, and I don't
Okay.
get me wrong. I'm not talking from a position of losing.
okay.
Right?
No, I know you're not, but I'm just saying
You
that.
ain't sore for nothing.
No, in the worst case scenario,
Wow, Mr. Martin.
you
Right.
let's say I'm saying, Martin, in the worst case scenario, you're not gonna go to bed guilty if one of these other people beat you for this seat. You feel comfortable enough that
I've already talked to Vince Tony.
Okay.
We've already agreed to meet, regardless of what happens.
happened. Okay.
And let's just talk and see, because we still live in the district.
Okay, exactly.
Right? We still got to deal with the issues.
Right.
Yeah.
We still can't wait. And I talked about school collaborating with government,
Mhm.
but community has to,
Facts.
right? The government, if they don't come get your trash out the back, call me, right? But if it's trash in the front, whether you threw it there or not, pick it up.
Yeah.
My man, 3 houses down is dumping, and if you don't call on it, shame on you. City got to know they ain't got binoculars out there, right? But if it's debris, trash in your community, man, my mother used to make us go to the end of the block. We stay closer to the right than Meineke on that end. We still had to go down to the end of Meineke, push broom, sweep it all up.
Did your mother own her home?
Yeah, my mom and dad still own the
They
same
still
house on
stay there.
41st and
Free
Meineke.
Meineke.
My niece
Yep,
stays in the
yep,
house.
yep, yep,
You've
facts.
been there.
Yeah, I've been there a million times. Well, I've been there when your parents owned it, and I've been there since the niece got
they
it.
still-
So I have a question.
Generational
Is
shit.
it that
you feel
we
me?
We got all the
don't-
trees cut down over there.
Fact.
My
Is
mother
it-
still is responsible. She's living on a different block now.
Is it that we don't care about what's ours, or is it that the people just know it's not theirs? And we know that we're doing modern day sharecropping.
But again, the same thing I ask every student is,
But-
how many of y'all want to live in a trashy community? Nobody wants to.
Now,
So
to,
go pick it up.
now from my angle on some street shit, from what Mike is saying and from what you were saying, that's the same thing I be saying, that niggas will die over these blocks. And your mama renting a house that you gang banging and dying over. We 2-6. I'm from 63rd. You from 64th. Don't nobody own a house on that
Nobody
block.
owns that.
No doubt.
But everybody will
But do I
die
have
over
to
that.
own and not want to live around trash.
No, but I think there's a
What I'm
certain
saying, you
level
got a
of-
sense of pride in that neighborhood to die for it. At least you
Yeah.
could do is pick the goddamn garbage up.
You definitely can.
You get what I'm saying? If you're willing to die behind a number, because you don't own nothing on the city owns that block. In 63rd, the 23rd, or the Trays, the Hundreds, the city own that shit. You don't know black people own none of that shit,
Yeah.
but we die every day behind repping that shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm with you, Martin. If you, the least you gonna do that, nigga, the least you can do is pick up the garbage
Or not
outside
throw it down.
or not throw it down.
Right.
You respect your neighborhood enough to die for the shit. At least keep it clean. nigga.
Call when somebody dumps a mattress.
You know what I mean?
I'm just saying you got to have some skin in the game. And I just feel like people just don't feel like they have no skin in the game.
Well,
But
rent
Don
the
is saying,
skin.
Don is saying
I mean,
with the
now,
money,
if you're getting to pay for you definitely ain't got nothing in the game. On the government give me.
Mm.
But if you paying rent, 600, 700, 800. I see some of these places they paying rent for. I'm like, bro, my mortgage less than that. But you paying rent? Okay, well, cool. But like Scalez saying, why not? You repping this block so hard. Why not go out there and pick up the little bit of debris, make your day a little more, your area a little bit more pleasant. A bit more pleasant. That's not hard to do. And I'm telling you, not every house on the south side is immaculate, but the blocks are. You just don't see the trash.
That's old school Milwaukee, though.
Bayview,
You know what I mean? I grew up in
when I go up North Oklahoma or up National.
I grew up in Harry Meyer and John Norquist in Milwaukee as a child. Mayor Meyer and Norquist. Those were my mayors when I grew up here. And I will honestly say you could eat off the goddamn street on the north side of Milwaukee when I was growing up here, bro. I remember we went to Philadelphia when I was a kid, and my brother-in-law nephews came back with us. They were my same age. And they was like, bro, that, you know, East Coast, like, yo, son, y'all grass is cut? Like on the medians they was talking about, like the median in the middle of the street. Like, yo, the grass is cut, son. In Philly, they don't cut the grass, bro. Don't pick up the trash. They city government was bad in the 80s and 90s. You know what I'm saying? So Milwaukee was totally, that's why I say 20 years ago, bro. We act like that's a long time ago. That's not a long time ago.
Well, but also let's be very clear. You also have a state government that passed laws.
See, Tommy Thompson. That's what I'm saying. I lived in Tommy Thompson's Wisconsin. No, what I'm saying, it was a better time period, bro. That's what I'm describing.
Well,
to you.
when the city was looking to do something about it, when the Common Council was dragging their feet and figuring out whether or not they wanted to license landlords in the city of Milwaukee, well, you had the Boulder guy. What's his name?
Oh, Barada.
Yeah, Barada. So he went to the state, and what he did was he got with some Republicans that he had given donations to,
of course, that he bought.
Yeah. And what he did was he outlawed from the state
capital.
See
how that fucking works?
He got them to outlaw putting licenses for landlords. Now, this is what they're able to do at the state level to keep the city from saying, hey, you have to make sure this building, you have to make sure this house looks good. And they couldn't put beautification. This actually is written into the law that beautification cannot be a reason that you are penalizing a landlord or not giving them a license, right? That's one end of that. That doesn't stop the city from giving a remedy to landlords not being good landlords, because no matter what you do, no matter what the state says, the local municipality has police power to do what they have to do within the city. So, and citizens have the power too, right? So you kind of can put a petition together and say, hey, I don't want this person being a landlord here. You can make that an ordinance and a law kind of skirt around that little law they came up with. But the thing is, I say that to say this. We have people that have actually worked to make sure that Milwaukee is the Milwaukee that it is
today.
Yeah. And so we have to make sure that we're doing the work to reverse those effects. How can you, or do you have any ideas, Mr. Martin, about reversing the effects of that type of law that will keep municipalities from actually holding these type of landlords, predatory landlords that are showcased in urban Milwaukee very often?
Well, if you saying this is something that comes from state, then we're getting back into partisan politics. Then you got to get the people in office who, because laws can be rewritten. That's nothing is etched in stone. We know that, but it takes. Now we're in partisan politics, right? This is the reason abortion is going, because Trump was savvy in putting 3 judges on the Supreme Court, right? So you got to get those individuals in place who will vote in your direction. Easier said than done. People have to win elections, but who has? What's the time to wait for that? You know what I mean? When I can just we still talk about, I'm not sure if we still talking about trash. I'm not sure if we talking about homes.
I'm just talking about, because sometimes it's not the people living in the home.
Sometimes it's the landlord, the slumlord. Milwaukee has a lot of white slumlords on the north side.
Yes, and it has
that was the second point.
That don't give a.
You said we could do that, but when you said Milwaukee, Mike, and I the north side, and I don't want to just paint the north side, like that northwest, and then there's some again sprinkles on the south side, but the majority of it doesn't look anything like as dilapidated as the north side does.
Because a lot of predatory landlords have,
but it goes back to what Mike is saying.
The north side.
Why is it working on the south and not the north?
Because they live over there. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like the police officers. Once they changed the rule and they didn't have to live in Milwaukee County anymore, teachers too. That took the. I'm telling you, Don, that takes the community out of small communities like Milwaukee. When we were growing up, your cops and your people lived in your community.
I know, I agree with all that.
So they cared. If a white person lived on the same block as you, even if they didn't care for black people, they care about the block. Once you remove them from the block, if they still own a house on that block, guess what? They don't give a fuck about that house. Pay my rent every month.
You know why? Do you know why?
They're not coming to beautify it like Mike is talking about.
There are some black slumlords too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know why slumlords? Do you know why slumlords buy houses in the hood?
Go ahead, Don, enlighten me.
That just from a real estate standpoint, I'm worked in property management for 3 years. I'm gonna tell you exactly why you buy a house in the hood.
Go ahead.
You're always gonna have a renter.
Yeah, always. Nobody's trying to buy it. You're never under the threat of anybody who lives in that community trying to buy that property.
Exactly.
Absolutely, Don. And a white man in a I won't even just say white to put a race on it, but a neighborhood that's over the poverty level, if you own something in that neighborhood, there's a chance that somebody's always trying to buy you out. But if you're in a poverty area, so that's why even when you ride down 3rd Street, you ride past G's remodeled this bank and turned it into this beautiful thing. They built Skybox across the street, Pepper Pot in our community, got that little area looking good. You ride down the street, it's still businesses burnt up from when Dr. King got killed.
Yeah.
Are you serious, dude? From the King riots?
And I hate to keep bringing up the South Side, brother, but because I'm not just talking about white.
No, I know
You'll find 3 Mexican restaurants on the same block.
Same block, bro.
But also we
all selling the same shit and offering the same thing. Yeah.
But we want to make sure that we're pointing out that those Latin and Latino people have resources we don't have. And they're able to pool those resources, not just out of Chamber of Commerce. It's not just but there are different Latino
federal shit,
and different Latino resources or Hispanic resources, that they are offered, that we are not offered due to the fact that they are Latino. And then there are places where we have the African American Chamber of Commerce, but those programs are still ran traditionally. You have the Wisconsin Women's Business, something that helps minority-owned businesses as well. But the issue that people have, whether it's homes, whether it's a business, whether it's anything, it's capital. And so the same way the city now has a program, I keep talking about it because it's really how the city is supposed to be answering home ownership and the call to that. If the city can partner with an associated bank, which gives traditional loans,
which my mortgage is through,
right? Why can't the city partner with the bank that may not be so traditional, but will be able to make sure that they're financing home ownership for the citizens of Milwaukee, for those who may not have
that's
the best
that's an easy answer, actually.
Mike Eatman has tried that with the collaboration he has with Great Midwest. You know, with the new homes he's building right there on Walnut.
Okay.
And Josie Sir.
But even in those homes, which that is a great program. Where like you can buy the lot for $1 and then you pay us.
They're not dollar lots.
No, they're not dollar lots.
They were giving a $20,000, basically a reduction in your price.
Yeah.
I didn't go through that. That's actually where I wanted my home to be. I wanted one built
because you can build the house right there, right? But the
they
lot,
don't accept the VA.
The lot they were supposed to be giving, like the house itself is not $1. But by the time you got through, the lot itself was supposed to be
it was $1 and a $20,000
discount, like deduction.
Yeah, but again, it just came off your mortgage. But you have to have a certain income,
and you have to have
$80,000 income.
You have to have an income. Who got just $80,000, just making $80,000 and already bought their house.
That don't already own their home.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you have to have a certain credit score.
Yeah.
There are actual banks and fintech companies that are looking at ways to offer people, home mortgages without looking at their credit score. Mm-hmm. So why isn't the city partnering with places like that? That's kind of
because
you want to look at you gotta look at credit score. You gotta look at certain things about a person's background.
You don't have to look at credit score. Credit scores didn't exist until after Reagan.
How is that bank? How is that bank's money insured?
It depends.
That's your answer.
It depends on the institution.
That's your answer. The institute, however that money's institution,
and it would have to be an FDIC too, because it would have to be federally.
It doesn't necessarily.
The feds will make sure that the money
doesn't necessarily have to be FDIC.
Wouldn't the feds make sure? But I'm saying the feds will make sure what Don is talking about happens though. Right.
It's all depending on the type of institution it is, who insures the money. So if it is a traditional bank, then yes, you're right. The FDIC would be the person. If it's a credit union, it'll be the NCUA. It's all depending on the institution. And so there are some institutions that already exist that have their money insured and have their money and ready to invest into programs like this. But if we don't have a city government that's proactively seeking these type of programs out to make sure that we're increasing our home ownership, that's an issue.
Yeah, but the question is who does the city government, who are they in bed with already? See, you don't think enough like a criminal.
And no, he's right. And politicians are criminals. See, Mike, no, Don, when me and Mike have these conversations off the air, when we have these conversations off the air, Don, that's what me and him, our arguments be about. Right. We could be saying the same thing, but he's saying it like it says it in the book.
This
like
is how the book
how
goes.
It's supposed to go.
Right.
Then I'm saying it the way that they're going to bend the law. Yeah. Well, they're going to do this, bro. Like, I know it says XYZ, but they're going to add a E at the end of the X,
but
like an extra letter to the alphabet.
Saying is
to make it work for them.
Niggas watching them put an E instead of the X, and you know it's supposed to be a fucking
because you can't do anything without buying someone.
Capital. Hey, did you just say capital?
That's
you
not
just said
true.
capital, man.
How do you just explained how Barada got a law change
because
by buying a politician.
Excuse me, sir, but it was young black kids that got the attention of CNN in the world without a dime. No money.
What you talking about doing?
Just matches and liquor.
Oh, you talking about the riots?
Matches, liquors, and mollies, okay? And they got the attention of the world.
Money don't, I mean, Stacey Abrams had way more money in her election than the brother she lost.
Lost to.
Yeah. So it's not money.
And it is if money is going to determine the race I'm in right now, I'm out.
Let me.
I'm gonna get beat because I can tell you right now.
We have the numbers.
Let me campaign finance reports is out there.
Man, let me tell you something.
I didn't grow up with those.
Yeah, Evers and Michaels ran the most expensive however you say that gubernatorial campaign in American history.
Let me tell you something. Let me explain.
That nigga spent millions.
Let me explain how it really works. Let's open the veil. Let's open the veil. Let me tell you how it really works.
Go ahead, Don.
Okay,
teach me.
You run for office,
so
you can try to help, right?
Right.
But you're not in control. You're not in charge.
The people are.
No, the motherfucker that bought you is in charge.
Oh.
See, on this level, he can make a difference. But once you get past this level, it's a motherfucker coming with a check talking about
it's graftiness too. I mean, again,
lobbyists and shit like that.
You gotta look at the campaign's finance reports, right, and see where the dollars are coming from. You'll see. That's what I'm gonna say about that. But you
saying even at this level,
it's people trying to make
what you have to understand. Don't speak
even Jasmine said that when she was here that day that they want to make sure certain people are sitting at the table, right? And if they gotta spend money in that shit, that's what they're gonna do.
So you can have the best intentions.
I got some intel.
You can have the best intentions trying to get into that office.
Yeah.
But somebody who was bought and paid for is gonna get in that office and he gonna do what the person who bought and paid for him told him to do.
If you allow it. If you allow it,
I got it because I'm
working
for nothing. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm working for nothing. If that's the case.
No. He's not saying that. He's not saying that's the.
But you may
thing
win.
about it is
you may win. It doesn't necessarily mean that person is going to win because they're bought and paid for. However, if they bought and paid for and they won, they're gonna do what the motherfucker who bought and paid for them
is what he's saying.
Let me enlighten you for a second, sir. I'm tired. You tire me out every week. Listen, first of all, there are a number of different areas that black people have to help them advance in this country. Okay, one is voting. There's a number of
Beat said Gremlin in the house. Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, because there's 4 different areas, but one of those areas that Martin Luther King was very clear about pointing out was the media. Was he not? We have 2 black newspapers in Milwaukee. One is called the Milwaukee Community Journal. The other one is called the Milwaukee Times. Have you heard about what is happening down at City Hall to the betterment or to the detriment of black people from those 2 publications? Or do you just see them celebrating Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority events and different fraternity events and celebrating all the NAACP events with pictures and all the old folks on the front page every week?
I'm going with the latter.
Thank you. So here's my thing. If people are in City Hall doing this and black people don't know anything about it, whose fault is that? And you have 2 black publications in the city of Milwaukee that's distributed to every black church. The black churches the pastors are in the Milwaukee Times. You hear me? They got pictures in the front, smiling with the Bible, holding it on the left. So I'm trying to understand how we so lost. How? In a city that you have the largest black podcast network, probably, largest community, probably
Well,
out.
you already answering your
in the world,
question
in
with
the place,
that.
all of
Hold
that.
on, you already answering your question with that right here. Who else is doing this?
Not many.
Not me. Who's gonna do what we doing right now? Take an hour and a half and talk about this type of shit. Our numbers ain't where they usually be every week.
Yeah.
But we knew this was gonna happen because this is what type of show we wanted to do tonight.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why that's not happening. There's not enough podcast people in the city doing this. They rather talk about bullshit. And I'm not saying because we talk about bullshit here too, but I'm just saying you have to be a time where we take a break. This is a crucial time period in our city right now.
Right.
Local government is at a make or break position right now. So
Make
if
it or
you
break it.
so if we don't inform our people, we're doing a disservice,
There
right?
are people
Because
pulling
we're in
strings.
media. So
Yeah.
what you're describing is, Mike, that's conventional media.
Yeah.
What we're doing is renegade media.
People
So
were-
without
yeah.
us, it gets worse.
But see,
Yeah.
that's
You see
the
what I'm
point.
saying?
The militancy, that's what Roland Martin would call it. The militancy of the black media is supposed to stay, because when you lose it, right, you lose the accountability portion
Yeah,
of what we
I
need.
learned about black media from the Nation of Islam.
You
The
know
brother
what I'm
standing on the corner
Yeah.
selling my mother a newspaper every
Yeah.
morning. She used to hand it to me and I used to read it before she dropped me off at school.
You know,
That's how I learned about black shit going on in America.
You
Not
know-
the
you know how-
not the Journal Sentinel,
Yeah.
not my school teacher, the newspaper from the Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
And my mother was a Baptist minister.
Yeah.
She wasn't even in the Nation of
Because
Islam.
we have a Milwaukee Community Journal where, and I love Lena Taylor, but Lena Taylor has a column. How can you be the militant media, what you're supposed to be, if somebody that you're also supposed to be holding accountable has a column?
So that's even my point with this platform. Like when we had Jasmine here, and even like we got Martin here. They're my friends. Like, they're part of the hip hop community. Me and Martin's families are damn near the same families. Our family's been around each other since black people got to Milwaukee. You get what I'm saying? Our grandparents were cool, parents were cool, me and him cool, our kids are cool. Get what I'm saying? Like generational shit. I've been knowing them for a long time.
Right.
Jasmine, I just met her in the rap scene, but I've been in the rap scene 30 years.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I'm anti what they're running for. You know what I'm saying? So I have to bring y'all on my platforms to have these kind of conversations. It's not to attack y'all, to bash y'all or nothing, but I represent the brothers who want to ask y'all this shit. That don't work for TV4 or don't work for Channel 12 or don't work for the radio. The nigga in the barbershop, bro, that's going to child support court in the morning. That's what this platform is for. You get what I'm saying? And the politicians don't talk to those people. That's why I got excited when you told me in the club Friday, Scalez. I haven't talked to the people that's in your audience, bro. I ain't seen them yet. I need to come see you. What day can I come? I told you Wednesday. Next week is yours.
Absolutely.
Because I liked what you said. You won me. Not that you my man. You my man. You was coming on here anyway. Right. But what made me excited about you coming on here is the fact that you said, no, I haven't talked to cats like you yet. Because that's what my audience represents this. I know it's people who watch my show or follow this show that aren't like me. But you see that it's 3 young black men that run this show of all different walks of life. Right. You know what I'm saying? That represent different things in black men culture.
Very knowledgeable brothers.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Absolutely.
Appreciate it. I got my professor degree from
Burleigh.
Burleigh.
The best teacher though.
Burleigh.
You know what I'm saying?
School of Hard
The
Knocks.
streets is the best teacher.
Now I have been through college hallways.
We all have.
I've attended.
You know what I mean? So before we sign out of here, I do want to speak to college rankings, since you were speaking of that. And we got an HBCU alumni here, like myself. He's also an educator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I did want to speak to that before we signed off.
College rankings of the law schools, right? It just became a thing. The law schools are looking to kind of step out. I think Harvard stepped out of being considered to have their law school ranked. If you go and you're looking at what it takes to get a bachelor's degree now today versus what it would have been 10 years ago or maybe 10 years prior to that, you'll actually see that there's a lot of requirements for our general education. There's been a lot of course loads added to it. It is not to the betterment of the student. That's what you would think, but it really isn't.
No.
Or to offer a more it's so that the university within the rankings of these certain magazines that they're promoted in can be ranked higher, and so that they can charge your students more. Right? Broken system. If we're looking at that and looking at those schools stepping outside of the system, how do we reform the college system? Because really, it sounds like even our education system from the top is broken. Even on the college level. And not just public either, private too.
Everything in America is broken.
It's not just America. These are world rankings.
Brother, I can't think about outside of this country. I can only think about them in terms of America. And America's broken, bro.
I disagree. I mean, it's broken parts, but I've been in a lot of places in the world, man. Being the Army, it's a lot of places worse.
For sure.
But in terms of these colleges and these rankings, man, the only one way, I'm saying the only way, one way to get them in line is to let our kids know, which I've been saying since I walked in here. You ain't got to go there to be successful.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily need that. I mean, people tell me all those jobs are gone. Meanwhile, I had to pay for my roof to get fixed when I first got in there. It was 3 Latino brothers. Not one of them had a computer.
Come on, man.
Right. I paid them 6 G's. They was done in 3 days.
Come on,
on to the next house.
Come on now.
Right. I ain't seen no degrees or no business suits. Right. Yeah. So we show these colleges, hey, look, people can be successful without you. I mean, their numbers are dwindling.
No. Well, let me ask you a question.
Enrollment is dwindling.
President Obama, during his State of the Union address, I think one of his last ones, he brought up apprenticeships and how he wanted to expand apprenticeships programs to other career paths and avenues. Mm-hmm. Do you think we should introduce or try to expand apprenticeships in Wisconsin, look to take over like a European model of higher education where they really use apprenticeships to teach rather than sitting a kid in the classroom with theory?
And Mike, you bringing me back full circle, because I'm going to say, when you say introduce, bring back.
Bring back.
It existed.
Mm-hmm. It existed.
It existed, bro.
Yeah.
The apprenticeship heap. I saw a couple of head nods on our engineers when I mentioned things like matter. I don't know if y'all remember Channel 14.
No, I remember Channel 14.
I have
Paul Davey them and Tony Neal them on Matter back in the day.
I remember that. Yeah. I mean, he really experienced working the boards. I mean, Marshall gave us the plug to all those things. Those were apprenticeships. So it's really bring those things back.
Facts.
Yeah.
Right. We start to equip kids to survive before they, and this is what you were talking about, by 18, they need to be living in something sustainable.
Yeah.
I was making a point that at 14, 15, when you can start working, you need to start create that work ethic in yourself. But then, you move on, to something better. But tomorrow I got to be a junior achievement for our community service. But I remember my junior achievement used to do major things in terms of getting kids positions. My sister, I tease her all the time, held on to her co-op job that she got through Jay for almost 15, 20 years. She was there for years and advanced through the
But that's the goal of it, though. And when you get in an opportunity like M&I Bank or somewhere like that, that's the goal, is to show you how to climb the ladder and be successful in a job.
Because right now, our children are looking at Instagram, they're looking at Facebook, and they see those people in those jobs. And honestly, they don't think it's possible. They don't think it's real for them to get there. And we have to start showing them stuff today. Like, I know we have a big picture and we want our kids to say, hey, this will be big picture, but they dealing with stuff today.
I think that we spend too much time wanting to teach what's cool, right? So like, I look at certain schools, like every school in Milwaukee wants to have a hip hop program.
Yeah.
Where they got a studio and they teach They teach kids music production and rap and YouTube rap skills, right?
Yeah.
They want to teach every motherfucker how to do my job. But I had to bust my ass learning music theory from the time I was in 5th grade to 12th grade. First chair all state.
But it's anything
because I bust my ass.
But it's anything
to learn how to do that.
But it's anything that they can monopolize, though.
But that doesn't mean that everybody got to come in like you,
man. Listen. There are thousands of fucking producers, quote unquote producers in this country,
talking to a comedian,
who have no idea.
Look at the DJ over there.
Who have no idea what the fuck they looking at if I put a sheet of music in front of them.
Right.
They don't know that you can't stand in a room with Timbaland and tell him how he should break down this melody, what the B section should sound like. Because you don't know what the fuck you talking about.
But that may not be their particular goal.
Man, listen. The basics is what I'm talking about.
But hear me.
We're not teaching the basics because we want to do everything that's hip and cool.
But everybody, hold on. Everybody from every industry. Rap, comedy, production, DJ. Everybody sitting at this table, educator, sitting at this table, can tell you about a shortcut in their industry that they wish wasn't there. However, they can also probably point out to you someone who came in through that shortcut
that has been a contributor to the
culture.
Absolutely. Those people are geniuses.
Yeah, but it's
those people are geniuses.
It's kind of like the same thing of, well, I think students should pay student loans because I pay student loans, and me paying student loans, I think built my character. It sounds like the same argument to me. It's kind of like
it's not though. It's not though. I'm speaking about the programs that they've taken away.
True.
Yeah, how you take away band, but you want to put a hip hop studio on.
What he's saying is you take away poetry, but you want to teach them rap.
Right.
I had to learn how to write poetry before I could write a rap.
Gotcha.
You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not a poet. I don't do poetry, but he's saying you can't get the chicken without the.
I went to open mics to be respected as a comedian.
Exactly.
Right.
I understand.
Exactly. Even if I didn't come from the battle circuit, I mean, you might have seen me at the battles. That can validate you. You see what I'm saying? I'm not a battle rapper, but me and Dooch went to the battle, so the battle rappers respect our pen game. Like I seen them at the battle before. You see what I'm saying? It's certain shit that you got to do to even take them type of steps to even get there.
I equate it to this, man. When I used to go live in Dallas and used to go to Lower Greenville, mostly predominantly white club.
Yeah.
And they see me and a couple of my boys in. It's like they was like, oh man, we got a couple brothers in here. Throwing that tone
low. Yeah, exactly.
Throwing that young MC. But you want it. It's like, damn, man. I'm just gonna say this. I'm probably one of 3 black male teachers at Bayview.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think that when the population that is teaching them says to themselves, well, this is how I can connect to them by making them rap.
Yeah, exactly.
Putting some beats on. And I'm a DJ and ain't getting none of that stuff.
Is that from you?
Man, we turn to page 43.
Turn to page 43.
Chapter 6, section 2.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure out this stuff. Now, there's projects where I may incorporate.
Yeah, because you're hip hop. You're under 50 years old, bro. You're hip hop, bro. You black in America, and you under 50. I ain't even gonna put a color on it. You under 50 in America, you're hip hop.
Right.
American culture for the last 50 years has been hip hop. Hip hop turned 50.
But I'm also military and military. I've also been a career. I'll bring all that stuff.
But what I'm saying, even in your politics, when you walk in that room, bro, you still represent the culture. That's what I was saying about Jasmine because of y'all age and how y'all grew up. You're hip hop at the end of the day. Period. You know what I'm saying?
But again, you got to have it in your bag. And a lot of the teachers, that's the only thing that's in their bag. You know what I mean? Put a beat on and let them
freestyle. Let them.
Maybe they'll behave. And sit down.
Sit them at a computer in front of the FL studio and
which is valuable, but again, concentrate that to one school and then give another
school two options. Exactly.
Like we used to have.
They just paint a brush over everything, like you say, Mike, all the time. Like the shootings happened downtown, and Cavalier Johnson was like, "All right, close all the food trucks.
We're done.
Take all the food trucks off of Water
Food
Street."
trucks are done.
Wait a minute. Them two things didn't even have nothing to do with each other.
That's not correlated. But that shows you how disconnected I don't care what nobody tell me about where he been or how many pictures he take with his corny ass. But what I'm going to say is the man is not connected to the community. I don't care what nobody say to me. And we need a different man. Moving on.
Yeah.
Well, again, if I win, I'm going to have to work with this brother. But I will tell you this. I've been at Bayview now 6 years. I teach civics and citizenship. He never stepped in my room.
Yeah, he's an
alumni.
And unless you got a camera and it's a news camera with a news reporter attached to it, he ain't gonna step in your room.
And the one time he did come to Bayview for his inauguration on a day when no students were there. But again, I don't know if that's I don't know.
You don't know if you don't know if that's why.
Hey, listen, man.
Have you met him?
Is the academy open?
The academy
across the street.
No, that's where we were doing wrestling practice for a while.
Interesting. So on that note, man, this was episode 172 of the Slick Talk with Scalez podcast with our guest, man, Mr. Martin, man, running for 1st District Alderman, man. Y'all make sure y'all get to the polls. February 21st, man. And then if he make it through the primary, we got to go back again April what?
April 4th.
April 4th.
Bananas for the general election. I got some. If I get, God on my side, I'm gonna get past this because I'm putting in the groundwork, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, if I don't, then the better person just got me.
I'm very proud of this election.
Me too.
I'm very, very proud of this candidate. This is a good candidate.
Yeah.
Like really, really a good candidate to have. You want someone who actually not just is coming in from the people's standpoint. I'm gonna disagree with him on a few points. I might be a thorn in his side, but that's my job. But pretty dope.
I feel comfortable with this brother in the room.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
understand?
absolutely.
what I'm saying?
I appreciate y'all.
I
giving me
think
this
he gonna
platform.
articulate
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
people want the right way. You
And
know what I
understands
mean?
plans, and then understands when to say, you know what,
I don't know yet. I'm gonna figure. I plan
I'll
on working
figure it
on
out
that when
right.
I get up in that joint. But
I
right
love
now, you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm rocking
right
with
side.
him. You still doing door to doors, right?
Still on doors, man. Like the election is Tuesday.
Okay.
But I'm gonna stay on the doors relentlessly.
The election Tuesday?
The election
Yeah.
is Tuesday.
I was on doors before. That's why
Stressed
I'm like, I'm not gonna put in no polo. And
No,
hell,
no.
knocking, dropping
No,
up.
no.
Working, I was just say yum meeting with M-Town.
Yeah,
and those brothers.
for
To
sure.
set up my, once I get past this hump, setting up meeting with the business owners in the district.
What you doing Sunday?
In terms of DJing,
Anything?
I DJ at Truth every Sunday.
Not DJing, just during the morning.
I watch sports.
I got
But-
you. I'm gonna call you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Mike gonna be a staffer before we get done.
Well, you know
Man.
they called NPS out tomorrow, man. So I'm
Yeah.
doing tomorrow before that snow get heavy. I'm gonna be on them.
You gonna
again.
use that day that time.
You
to
trying to be a
get it
staffer
in.
before it's over with?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be walking around with an earpiece with one of these people.
He said, "Well, one of these people, I'm
With
walking
an
around with
earpiece and a
earpiece."
In the
clipboard.
clipboard.
Say no more questions. I'll answer that. What?
I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know when Barstool Sports come get us. When they come bring us that bag or whatever platform comes by us out, I'm gonna buy me some politicians.
Oh no, we buying plenty politicians. That's the first thing I'm doing. I'm buying people when they gonna
But
be
you don't have
politicians.
to buy them. This is the thing.
That's how rich I plan on being.
Yeah.
I plan on
But-
buying people.
That's cool.
I'm gonna
But
buy
your
me some, I'm gonna buy me
media.
some people.
Yeah, me
Your
too.
media. You use this.
No,
What
no.
would you use?
Yeah,
No, no.
yep. I'm gonna use this.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You
use this.
and a brown envelope.
And
Yeah.
you bring up business. So what I'm hearing on the Common Council, Mr. Martin, how'd you face?
Mike, I used to sell music out my trunk.
What I'm hearing
I
on
come
the
from the
Common
payola era
The
of
payola.
radio. You
Yeah,
ever
'cause
heard of payola?
Payola.
Yeah, I come from that where you go pay
Yeah.
the program director to play your fucking music,
Yeah.
or you break their fucking legs.
But
That's where I come from. So I'm in the
hearing
business
that
of buying
there's a
people.
Yeah, I'm gonna
person
buy me
who's
some
running
people.
for Common Council president who's interested in paying people to be the Common Council president. They would like to replace the guy who's there right now.
Mm.
Yes, I hear there are some candidates who are actually being they have a little foot tipped on the scale because
Yeah.
they feel like that person's actually going to vote for this young lady for Common Council president.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I'm going to reach out to her and ask a couple of questions. Y'all sit on that for a little bit. We'll come back up with updates
Yeah.
on that one.
Mm.
Yeah, I know the insides of that.
So do we have somebody next week?
We do. We do have somebody next week. I believe it's another District 1 candidate. I believe.
Okay. We can't reveal
Nah,
who this
District 1
person
shut
is.
down.
yet?
We shutting down there.
No.
Okay.
No more District
again,
1
It's
candidates.
District 1, and if it's next Wednesday, it's
Yeah.
only going to be two people standing.
Standing,
Yeah.
yeah. It's,
That kind of
Yeah.
eliminates.
yeah, because they would be done lost or won.
Whoever it is will be either lost or won.
So tentatively, we gonna have somebody from that. But
I would like to have
guaranteed, we got the
Evans.
brother Sean Hinton coming through next week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Guitar extraordinaire just dropped an album this week, and he's been performing everywhere from the
Man.
Bradley Center to Mr. B's.
He
to,
performed last night. It
to
was so
name
dope.
it, to the joint up in the Sherman Phoenix. This dude has been everywhere promoting this new album called Art by Sean Hinton, and he will be in the building with us next week. Mary J. Blige's music director, Lil Wayne's music director, Jay-Z's music director for their tours. So yeah, that brother, fresh out of Greater New Birth, Chach, Sean Hinton will be here with us next week.
All
And
right.
and in case whoever Mike has lined up, because after Tuesday, I hope my brother Martin.
Listen,
will
I
have
am
that.
excited.
He has the Slicktalk with Scalez endorsement. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We endorsing you.
I love it. Listen, let me explain something to you. Anybody that understands history is going to know what to do when it comes to moving forward.
Facts.
And even if he doesn't, he can learn.
Facts.
So
He's an educator. Educators always learning. You know what I
always,
mean? Yeah.
always.
So on that note, like I said, man, y'all make sure y'all tap in with Black Lens MKE. They got the Kendrick Lamar Power and Poetry event, the life and times of Kendrick Lamar, celebrating the Grammy Award winning rapper. You know what I mean? It came from nothing to make itself very big, pushing all positive pro-Black messages in his music. That has to be celebrated this Black History Month with a free event at Company Brewing this Friday, 7 p.m. Make sure y'all tap in with Black Lens MKE, one of our sponsors.
I need a graphic.
I got you. And on that note, we are out. We'll see y'all next Wednesday. Peace.
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 I didn't hold you too long.